Hey guys, you're listening to Revenge Diaries with Emma. Today we're diving into a story that'll make you question everything you thought you knew about trust, love, and the glittering promises people make when they're down on one knee. Here's something fascinating. Throughout history, engagement rings weren't always about love. The ancient Romans used them as contracts, literal ownership papers. Medieval Europeans believed the ring finger contained the vena amoris, a vein running straight to the heart. Spoiler alert, that vein doesn't exist. It's mythology, just like the fairy tales we're sold about happily ever after. But we still buy into it, don't we? We see that little velvet box, our hearts race, and suddenly we're ready to bet our entire futures on a circular piece of metal and a person's word. The thing is, words are cheap. Actions? Those tell the real story. And sometimes, that story is so twisted you'll wish you'd never opened the book. You probably think you'd spot a liar from a mile away. You've got good instincts, right? You'd never fall for someone's manufactured romance, their carefully rehearsed declarations of forever. Yeah, that's what Sarah thought too. And she was wrong. Dead wrong. In a way that would unravel her entire existence and force her to question every moment of happiness she thought she'd experienced. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here, and hey, drop a comment telling me where you're watching from and what time it is in your corner of the world. I love knowing this community stretches across time zones, connecting us all through these wild, unbelievable stories. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into today's journey together. You're Sarah Mitchell, 31 years old, living your best life in downtown Portland. You've worked your way up to senior marketing director at a tech startup that's actually profitable, a rare beast in the industry. Your apartment overlooks the Willamette River, you've got a core group of friends who'd help you bury a body if needed, and your rescue dog Luna is basically your therapist with fur. Life is good. Stable. Predictable in all the right ways. Then Marcus enters stage left. You meet him at a networking mixer you almost skipped because you were exhausted from a product launch. He's charming in that effortless way some people have, not trying too hard, just naturally magnetic. He works in finance, dresses well without being flashy, and when he laughs at your joke about synergy being a meaningless buzzword, you feel seen. Actually seen. Over the next 3 months, he becomes your person. Movie nights evolve into weekend getaways. He remembers you hate cilantro. He brings Luna special treats. He listens when you vent about office politics without trying to fix everything immediately. 8 months in, during a hiking trip to Multnomah Falls, he drops to one knee on that scenic overlook where tourists are snapping photos of the cascading water. The ring catches the afternoon light, an Art Deco-style sapphire surrounded by tiny diamonds, set in platinum. It's breathtaking. Unique. Nothing like the cookie-cutter solitaires you see everywhere. He tells you it's a family heirloom, passed down from his grandmother who survived the Depression by running a boarding house in Boston. She was fierce, he says. Independent. Just like you say yes before he finishes asking. The tourists applaud. Someone's definitely recording this on their phone. Luna barks excitedly, tail whipping back and forth. You're crying those happy tears you didn't think you'd actually cry because you always told yourself you weren't that girl. But here you are, that girl, and it feels right. It feels like every romance novel promised it would, like every rom-com suggested it could if you just found the right person. Marcus slides the ring onto your finger. It fits perfectly, like it was sized just for you. The metal is cool against your skin, substantial without being heavy. You twist it under the sunlight, watching how the sapphire shifts from deep navy to almost purple depending on the angle. This ring has history. It's been on another woman's hand, a woman who built something from nothing, who survived hard times. You feel connected to that legacy, like you're being welcomed into something bigger than just a relationship. That night, you post a carefully curated photo. Just your hand with the ring, Luna's nose visible at the edge of the frame, the falls blurred beautifully in the background. Within minutes, your phone explodes. Heart emojis flood in. Your college roommate comments, "Finally." Your mom calls crying before you've even had a chance to tell her directly. Your best friend Jenna sends a voice message that's just screaming for 30 seconds straight, followed by, "Emergency brunch tomorrow. I need all the details." The next few weeks are a blur of congratulations and celebration. Your office throws you an impromptu champagne toast. Jenna drags you to look at venues even though you haven't set a date yet. Your mom starts sending you Pinterest boards with themes you'd never choose but nod along to anyway because she's so excited. Marcus's parents send a beautiful card welcoming you to the family, though you notice he seems uncomfortable when you mention wanting to plan a visit to meet them properly, but you're floating too high to worry about small things. You start a wedding binder. You download planning apps. You and Jenna spend an entire Saturday scrolling through dress styles, though you're leaning towards something simple and elegant rather than the princess gown she keeps showing you. Marcus is less involved in the planning, but that's normal, right? Grooms typically are. He assures you he's happy with whatever you choose, that he just wants you to be happy, that the wedding is really your day. 2 months after the proposal, you're at the jeweler getting the ring cleaned and inspected, something your mom insisted on for insurance purposes. The jeweler, an older man with those magnifying glasses perched on his nose, examines it carefully under bright light. He compliments the craftsmanship, notes it's definitely authentic Art Deco period, probably 1920s or early 1930s. Then he says something that makes your stomach drop just slightly, "Recent sizing job, though. See here? The band was expanded. Probably within the last year or two." You laugh it off. "Oh, Marcus probably had it sized for me before he proposed." How thoughtful, right? The jeweler nods, but there's something in his expression you can't quite read. Sure. Though usually with heirlooms, families keep them original and use sizing beads instead. Resizing can affect value. But hey, it fits you beautifully now. You pocket that little detail, that tiny inconsistency. It's nothing. It's probably nothing. Marcus wanted it to fit perfectly without you having to get it adjusted after. That's romantic, not suspicious. You're being paranoid because your friend Alicia went through a messy breakup recently where her ex was lying about everything from his job title to his age, and now you're seeing red flags where there are only rose petals. Still, that night when Marcus comes over with Thai takeout, you mention the jeweler's comment casually while unpacking containers of pad Thai and green curry. So apparently you had the ring resized before proposing? That's so sweet that you planned ahead like that. He barely looks up from separating chopsticks. Yeah, I wanted it perfect for you. How'd you know my ring size? I don't think I ever told you. Lucky guess. He grins, kissing your temple. Plus I maybe snuck one of your other rings to compare. It's a good answer. A believable answer. The kind of answer an attentive fiancé would give. So why does something feel slightly off? Why can't you shake this weird feeling that's settled in your chest, just left of your heart? You push it down. You're being ridiculous. This is Marcus, your Marcus, who brings you coffee in bed, who laughs at your terrible puns, who proposed with his grandmother's ring at one of the most beautiful spots in Oregon. You're just nervous about the commitment, about the massive life change ahead. Cold feet is normal. Questioning everything is normal. You twist the ring on your finger, feeling its weight. It really is beautiful. And it's yours now. Part of your story. Part of your future that if only you knew that in a few months, a stranger would walk up to you and say those 4 words that would detonate your entire world. That ring is mine. You start noticing things in the way you notice a crack in a windshield. First it's just a tiny line, barely visible, then suddenly you can't stop seeing it, can't stop wondering when it'll spiderweb across the entire glass and shatter. Marcus's phone becomes a fortress. He's always been relatively private, not the type to leave his phone lying around unlocked, but now it's different. Now he tilts the screen away when notifications pop up. Now he steps into the other room to take calls, his voice dropping to that low murmur you can't quite make out even when you're shamefully standing near the door trying to listen. You hate yourself for even wanting to eavesdrop, but something primitive in your gut keeps whispering that something's wrong. That it's a Tuesday evening, 3 months post-proposal, when the first really strange call happens. You're both on the couch, Luna sprawled across your lap, some Netflix documentary about Formula One racing playing in the background, his choice, but you don't mind because he sat through your true crime obsession last week. His phone buzzes. He glances at it, and you swear the color drains from his face. Actually drains, like someone pulled a plug. I need to take this work thing. He's up and moving toward the bedroom before you can respond. The door clicks shut. You pause the documentary, suddenly hyper-aware of every sound. You can hear his voice through the walls, tense and clipped. You catch fragments, I told you not to, and this isn't the time, and something that sounds like, she doesn't know anything. Who doesn't know anything? You? About what? When he emerges 15 minutes later, his expression is carefully neutral, that practiced smile back in place. Sorry about that. Client having a meltdown about their portfolio. At 7:30 at night? Rich people don't respect boundaries. He settles back onto the couch, pulling you against his chest, his heart hammering too fast beneath your ear. Where were we? You don't push it. Not yet. But you start keeping a mental tally. The calls continue. Always at odd hours. Always requiring privacy. His explanations are consistent: work, demanding clients, market volatility. You want to believe him because the alternative is terrifying. The alternative means you're engaged to someone who's lying to you. And if he's lying about phone calls, what else is he lying about? Wedding planning becomes a minefield. Every time you try to nail down actual details, Marcus deflects. You want to tour venues? He's swamped at work. Can you go with Jenna and just show him photos? You want to set a date? Let's not rush, maybe a longer engagement is better, gives you more time to save and plan properly. You want to meet his parents? They're traveling, they're busy, they're dealing with his uncle's health issues, always an excuse. Always reasonable on the surface. Always leaving you feeling vaguely crazy for being suspicious. Jenna notices during one of your wedding planning brunches at that spot downtown with the incredible eggs Benedict and the mimosas that are more champagne than orange juice. She's scrolling through venue websites on her tablet while you're pushing hollandaise sauce around your plate, appetite gone. Okay, what's wrong? She sets down the tablet, giving you her full attention. Jenna's known you since college, since that terrible freshman year when you both got food poisoning from the dining hall and bonded over shared misery. She can read you like large print instructions. Nothing. I'm fine. Sarah. You've rearranged that same bite of food 4 times. Talk. So you do. You tell her about the phone calls, the deflections, the way Marcus seems increasingly distant even when he's right next to you. How he still says he loves you, still kisses you goodbye, still shows up with your favorite snacks, but something fundamental has shifted. It's like you're engaged to a hologram of the man you fell for. Jenna listens, her expression darkening. Have you tried talking to him directly? Like, actually sitting him down and saying, hey, you're being weird? What if I'm just being paranoid? What if I'm self-sabotaging because I'm scared of commitment? Or what if your gut is trying to tell you something and you're ignoring it because acknowledging it means dealing with it? She reaches across the table, squeezing your hand. Look, I'm not saying he's definitely hiding something. But you're allowed to ask questions. You're about to legally bind yourself to this person. You deserve transparency. She's right. You know she's right. But knowing something intellectually and having the courage to act on it are completely different things. That weekend, you decide to broach the subject. You plan it out like a work presentation. Stay calm, use "I feel" statements, don't be accusatory. Marcus comes over Saturday afternoon, and you've made his favorite pasta from scratch, opened a nice bottle of wine. You're aiming for comfortable and open, not confrontational. Halfway through dinner, you take the plunge. Can we talk about wedding planning? I feel like we keep putting it off, and if we want to get married next year, we really need to start booking things. He twirls pasta around his fork, not meeting your eyes. Yeah, definitely. I've just been slammed at work. You know how it is. I do, but this is important too. And honestly, Marcus, you've seemed really distracted lately. Is everything okay? With us? Now he looks up, and there's something in his expression you can't quite identify. Guilt? Fear? Everything's fine. I love you. You know that. I do, but, Sarah. He reaches across the table, taking your hand, his thumb brushing over the engagement ring. I'm sorry if I've been distant. Work has been insane. I've got this huge deal closing, and once it's done, I promise I'll be more present. We'll plan the wedding, meet venues, all of it. Just give me a few more weeks. It's a good answer. A reasonable answer. The kind of answer you want to accept because accepting it means everything goes back to normal. So you nod, you squeeze his hand back, you tell yourself you're overreacting, but 2 weeks later, you're at Starbucks grabbing your afternoon coffee when you see Marcus through the window of an upscale restaurant across the street. He's at a corner table with a woman. A beautiful woman with long dark hair, wearing a burgundy dress that probably costs more than your car payment. They're leaning close, intimate in a way that makes your blood run cold. She reaches across the table, touching his arm, laughing at something he said. You stand frozen on the sidewalk, coffee burning your hand through the cardboard sleeve. Your brain supplies innocent explanations: work colleague, client, old friend. But your gut is screaming. Your gut is a fire alarm going off at full volume. You don't confront him. You don't march in there and demand answers. Instead, you go home, you sit on your bathroom floor, and you let Luna lick your face while you try to breathe through the panic attack building in your chest. You're being paranoid. You're being crazy. There's a reasonable explanation. When Marcus texts you that evening saying he had to work late, you don't mention seeing him. You just respond, no problem, hope you get everything done, with a smiley emoji like you're not dying inside. Jenna's voice echoes in your head. Your gut is trying to tell you something. That night, you do something you swore you'd never do, something that makes you feel like a terrible person even as you're doing it. Marcus is in the shower, and his phone is charging on your nightstand. Your hands shake as you pick it up. You don't know his passcode, but you try his birthday. Wrong. You try his mom's birthday. At least, the birthday he told you. Wrong. You're about to give up when, on impulse, you try the date he proposed. The phone unlocks, your heart is a drum solo, frantic and too loud. You open his messages, not even sure what you're looking for. Most of them are boring, work stuff, group texts with his buddies about fantasy football, a thread with his brother about their dad's upcoming birthday. Then you see a name that makes you stop breathing. Rebecca. The preview shows the most recent text from her, sent this morning. We need to talk about this. You can't keep avoiding. The message is cut off. You tap the thread that it's deleted. The entire conversation is gone. But the preview message is still there, haunting you like a ghost. The shower turns off. You have maybe 90 seconds before Marcus comes out. You put the phone back exactly how it was, charging cable at the same angle, screen dark. You dive back into bed, grabbing your own phone, pretending to scroll Instagram with hands that won't stop trembling. Marcus emerges in a cloud of steam and cologne, towel around his waist, smiling at you like everything's normal. Like he's not hiding an entire conversation with someone named Rebecca. Like your life isn't a carefully constructed lie that's starting to crumble at the edges. Hey, beautiful. Come here. He pulls you into a kiss that tastes like mint toothpaste and betrayal. You kiss him back because you don't know what else to do. Because confronting this means everything changes, and you're not ready for everything to change, not yet, but soon, you won't have a choice. Because Rebecca isn't going to stay hidden in deleted text threads. She's about to walk straight into your life and blow it apart. The coffee shop is your sanctuary. It's one of those aggressively Portland places with exposed brick, Edison bulbs, and baristas who have strong opinions about water temperature. You've been coming here every Thursday morning for 2 years, always ordering the same thing, oat milk latte, extra shot, sitting at the corner table by the window where the light is perfect for people watching while you review marketing reports on your laptop. Thursday morning, 11 days after you discovered that deleted text thread, starts like any other. Luna's at doggy daycare. You're wearing your favorite burgundy blazer, the one that makes you feel competent and in control even when you're spiraling internally. Your latte is the exact right temperature. You're trying to focus on campaign analytics, but your mind keeps wandering to Marcus, to Rebecca, to the growing list of inconsistencies you've been cataloging like evidence that you're so lost in thought that you don't notice her approaching until she's standing directly beside your table, casting a shadow across your laptop screen. Excuse me. Are you Sarah Mitchell? You look up. The woman is probably close to your age, maybe a year or two younger. She's beautiful in that effortless way some women are, minimal makeup, dark hair pulled into a ponytail, wearing jeans and a leather jacket that's worn in all the right places. But her eyes are red-rimmed like she's been crying, and there's something in her expression that's equal parts fury and desperation. Yes? Your voice comes out uncertain, already bracing for whatever's coming. I'm Rebecca Chen. She says it like the name should mean something to you. When you just stare at her blankly, her laugh is bitter and sharp. Of course he didn't tell you about me. Why would he? Your blood turns to ice water. Rebecca. The deleted messages. I think there's been some mistake. No mistake. You're engaged to Marcus Hayes, right? Financial advisor, charming smile, tells a great story about his grandmother's boarding house. She's not sitting, but she's leaning on your table now, her voice tight with controlled rage. That ring you're wearing? Take a good look at it. Because it's mine. Everything slows down. The espresso machine hissing in the background becomes distant white noise. The other customers fade into irrelevance. Your hand moves instinctively to the engagement ring, protective, disbelieving. What are you talking about? Rebecca reaches into her jacket pocket and pulls out her phone. Her hands are shaking slightly as she swipes through photos. Then she turns the screen toward you, and the world tilts on its axis that it's a photo of Rebecca, clearly from a few years ago based on her shorter haircut and the style of her outfit. She's holding up her left hand, showing off an engagement ring. The same Art Deco sapphire surrounded by diamonds. The same platinum band. The exact same ring that's currently on your finger. Marcus proposed to me 3 years ago with that ring, Rebecca says, her voice cracking. Told me the same story about his grandmother surviving the Depression. We were engaged for 8 months. Then he said he needed space to figure things out, took the ring back for safekeeping, and disappeared. Changed his number. Blocked me everywhere. I spent months trying to find him, thinking something terrible had happened. Then last week, I'm scrolling Instagram, and I see your post. That photo of the ring at Multnomah Falls. My ring. You can't breathe. The coffee shop is spinning. This has to be a mistake. Maybe they're similar rings. Look closer. Rebecca zooms in on her photo, showing a tiny inscription inside the band. Then she gestures to your hand. Check the inside of yours. With trembling fingers, you slip the ring off. You've never looked at the inside before, never had a reason to. You tilt it toward the light, squinting at the tiny engraved letters, EH 1928. Rebecca's voice is quieter now, sad rather than angry. Eleanor Hayes. His actual grandmother. At least that part wasn't a lie. But she didn't run a boarding house. She was a seamstress in Boston. Marcus showed me photos of her once, told me about how she saved for years to buy that ring for herself because her husband was a drunk who spent everything on liquor. When she died, she left it to Marcus's mom, who gave it to him. The ring feels like it's burning your palm. You want to throw it across the room, want to wake up from this nightmare, want to rewind 3 months and never say yes to that proposal at Multnomah Falls. I don't understand. Your voice sounds far away, like it belongs to someone else. Why would he do this? Why use the same ring? I've been asking myself that for 3 years. Rebecca finally sits down across from you, her anger deflating into exhaustion. I thought I was the only one. But after I saw your post, I did some digging. Found a woman named Ashley who was engaged to him 5 years ago. Guess what ring she got? The coffee shop is too hot. Your blazer is suffocating you. The same one. The same one. And before you ask, no, none of us knew about each other. He's careful. He compartmentalizes. I only found you because you posted publicly. Ashley only found out when she ran into Marcus at a restaurant 2 years after he ghosted her, and he was with someone else, and when she confronted him, he threatened to call the cops for harassment. You're going to be sick. Actually physically sick. You push your latte away, the smell suddenly revolting. How did you find me? I mean, today. Here. I've been watching your social media. You post your location sometimes. I know it's creepy, and I'm sorry, but I had to talk to you in person. I tried calling Marcus, but he blocked my number. Again. Rebecca's eyes fill with tears. I don't want revenge. I don't want to ruin your life. I just want you to know the truth before you make the same mistake I almost did. Your phone buzzes. A text from Marcus, thinking about you. Can't wait for tonight. Love you. The casualness of it, the normalcy, makes you want to scream. He's been lying to you for months. Maybe lying from the very beginning. Every sweet gesture, every declaration of love, every plan for the future, what if all of it was performance? What if you never actually knew him at all? What happened, you ask Rebecca. After he disappeared, I mean. Did you ever get closure? She shakes her head. Never. I went to his office, but they said he'd quit. I went to his apartment, but he'd moved. It was like he just erased himself from my life. I blamed myself for months, wondering what I did wrong, how I drove him away. Then I got angry. Then I got therapy. And now I'm here, looking at another woman wearing my ring and living my nightmare. You slip the ring back on your finger, but it feels foreign now, like someone else's skin. I need to talk to him. I need to hear his explanation. There won't be one. Not a real one. Rebecca stands, shouldering her bag. He'll cry. He'll say I'm crazy, that I'm stalking him, that this is all a misunderstanding. He's good at making you doubt yourself. That's his real talent, not finance, not romance. Gaslighting. She pulls out a business card, sliding it across the table. Rebecca Chen, graphic designer. A phone number and email address. When you're ready to talk more, call me. I've got screenshots, emails, everything. And if you want to find Ashley, I can connect you. We deserve to know the full truth about who this man really is. Rebecca pauses at the edge of your table, her expression softening. I'm sorry. I know this is destroying you right now. Trust me, I know. But better now than after the wedding. Better now than after you've legally tied yourself to a pathological liar. Then she's gone, disappearing into the Portland morning, leaving you sitting alone with cold coffee and a ring that suddenly weighs 1,000 pounds. You stare at your laptop screen, at the marketing analytics that seemed so important 20 minutes ago. Your phone buzzes again. Another text from Marcus, reservation at 7. That Italian place you love. Your fingers move automatically, typing out a response. Perfect. See you then, but you're already planning. Already thinking. Already shifting from shock into something harder and colder. Because if Marcus wants to play games, if he thinks he can juggle multiple women with the same ring and the same lies, then he's about to learn something important about Sarah Mitchell. You don't just roll over when someone betrays you, you fight back. You take a screenshot of Rebecca's business card, saving it to a hidden folder on your phone. Then you open a new note and start writing everything down, every inconsistency, every strange phone call, every deflection about wedding planning. You document the coffee shop conversation while it's fresh, including every detail Rebecca shared about Ashley and the pattern of behavior. Luna needs to be picked up from daycare in 3 hours. You have a 7 o'clock dinner reservation with your fiancé. And somewhere in between, you need to figure out how to look Marcus Hayes in the eye and pretend everything's normal while you investigate whether your entire relationship is built on lies. The barista calls out someone's order. Life continues around you, oblivious. Your latte has gone completely cold. You twist the ring on your finger one more time, watching how the sapphire catches the light. Eleanor Hayes saved for years to buy this for herself. A symbol of independence, of survival, of a woman taking control of her own life. Maybe it's time you channel some of that energy. Maybe it's time Marcus learned he picked the wrong woman to betray. You don't go back to the office. You call in sick, a migraine. You tell your assistant, which isn't technically a lie because your head is pounding like someone's using your skull for percussion practice. Instead, you drive. Just drive, with no destination, windows down despite the October chill, trying to outrace the thoughts spiraling through your mind. Marcus proposed with a recycled ring. Marcus has a history of doing this. Marcus might have an entire secret life you know nothing about. The word pathological keeps echoing. Rebecca called him a pathological liar. And now you're rewinding through your entire relationship like a detective reviewing footage, looking for the tells you missed. Were there signs from the beginning? That first night at the networking mixer, did he seem too smooth, too practiced? When he talked about his family, his job, his past relationships, how much of it was real? You end up at a park overlooking the city, sitting on a bench while joggers pass and a group of teenagers skateboard nearby, their wheels clattering against concrete. Normal people doing normal things while your world implodes. You pull out Rebecca's business card, staring at the phone number. Then you call. She answers on the second ring. Sarah? Tell me everything, you say. From the beginning. I need to know exactly who I'm dealing with. Rebecca's story pours out over the next 40 minutes. She met Marcus at a charity gala 4 years ago. He was charming, attentive, interested in her art career. He pursued her with the kind of intentional romance you usually only see in movies: surprise picnics, thoughtful gifts that showed he actually listened, long conversations about dreams and futures. 6 months in, he proposed. She said yes without hesitation, then the cracks appeared. Phone calls he wouldn't explain. Weekends he suddenly needed to work. A growing emotional distance wrapped in reassurances that everything was fine. When Rebecca pushed for wedding planning, he'd deflect. When she wanted to meet his extended family, there were always obstacles. His cousin was in rehab. His aunt was going through a divorce. His grandmother had just died. Wait, you think, but didn't he say his grandmother died years ago, when he inherited the ring? He told me she died like 2 months before we met, Rebecca says, reading your mind. Said he was still processing the grief. Used it to explain why he was emotionally unavailable sometimes. But then his mom mentioned something about his grandmother dying when Marcus was in college, and when I asked him about it, he got angry. Said I was calling his mom a liar, said grief was confusing my memories. Classic gaslighting. Making you doubt your own perception of reality. What made him finally disappear, you ask? I found a receipt. Rebecca's laugh is hollow. Such a cliché, right? But I found a receipt for a hotel room in Seattle. We'd never been to Seattle together. When I asked about it, he said it was a work trip, but the date was a weekend. He told me he was visiting his brother in California. I kept asking questions, and he kept contradicting himself, and finally I said maybe we should postpone the wedding until we worked through some things. He said he needed space to think. Asked for the ring back temporarily. I gave it to him because I trusted him. And then he vanished. Your throat is tight. Did you ever find out if there was someone else? I don't know for sure. But yeah, probably. Looking back, all the signs were there. The phone calls, the unexplained absences, the way he'd accuse me of being jealous or paranoid whenever I questioned anything. She pauses. Sarah, can I ask you something? Has he isolated you at all from your friends or family? You think about it. Not overtly. But now that you mention it, he's always got a reason we can't make it to things. My friend's birthday party, he had a work emergency. My parents' anniversary dinner, he got food poisoning. My college reunion, he thought I'd have more fun without him there. Right. Because the fewer people who really know him, the easier it is to maintain the lie. And if your friends and family don't spend much time with him, they can't accidentally reveal inconsistencies. Everything is clicking into place with horrible clarity. You feel stupid for not seeing it sooner, but that's what manipulators do. They make you feel crazy for being suspicious until you stop trusting your own instincts. You mentioned another woman, Ashley, you say. Do you really think you can connect me with her? I already texted her this morning, told her I'd found you. She wants to talk. She's actually eager to. I think she never got closure either. Hold on, I'll send you her number. Your phone pings. Ashley Morrison's contact information appears on your screen. One more thing, Rebecca says. After Marcus ghosted me, I did some digging into his background. Some of what he told me about his past doesn't check out. The college he said he graduated from has no record of him. The fraternity he claimed to be in doesn't exist at that school. His job history has gaps he could never really explain. What are you saying? I'm saying I don't think Marcus Hayes is even his real name. The world tilts again. You're gripping the phone so hard your knuckles are white. That's insane. He has a job, a driver's license, a social security number. Marcus Hayes might be real. But the Marcus Hayes we know? I think he's a character. A role he plays. Rebecca's voice is gentle, like she's delivering a terminal diagnosis. Look, I could be wrong. Maybe I'm being paranoid. But when someone lies about so many small things, you have to wonder what big things they're hiding. After you hang up, you sit on that bench for another 20 minutes, watching the city spread out below you like a circuit board of lights beginning to glow as afternoon shifts toward evening. Somewhere down there, Marcus is at his office or maybe at another mysterious lunch with another mysterious woman. Somewhere down there, your friends are going about their days, still believing you're deliriously happy with your charming fiancé. Somewhere down there is the Italian restaurant where you're supposed to meet him in a few hours, where he'll probably order you the Chianti you like and smile at you across candlelight like he's not destroying your life. You call Ashley, she answers immediately, her voice young and uncertain. Is this Sarah? Yeah. Rebecca said you wanted to talk. God, yes. I've been waiting 3 years to talk to someone who understands. Ashley sounds close to tears. I thought I was going insane. After Marcus left, I started questioning everything about myself. Was I too clingy, too demanding, too boring? My therapist says I have PTSD from the relationship. From being with someone who made me feel like reality was negotiable. You tell her about the proposal, about Rebecca showing up at the coffee shop, about the ring that's been passed between at least 3 women like some cursed artifact. Ashley goes quiet for a long moment. When she speaks again, her voice is harder. He told me his grandmother was a Holocaust survivor. Said the ring was all she managed to bring from Germany. I actually researched Eleanor Hayes, trying to understand my future family history. Couldn't find any record of her being European or Jewish. When I asked Marcus about it, he said I was disrespecting his grandmother's memory by fact-checking his family stories. 3 women, 3 different stories about the same ring. A boarding house owner. A woman who bought her own ring to escape an alcoholic husband. A Holocaust survivor. All Eleanor Hayes, but with completely different histories depending on who Marcus was trying to manipulate. Did he ever introduce you to his parents, you ask? Once. We had dinner at their house in Eugene. They seemed nice but distant. Looking back, they barely asked me any questions. Like they knew I wasn't going to be around long enough to matter. Ashley's breathing gets faster. You know what the worst part is? I still have dreams about him. Dreams where he comes back and explains everything and it all makes sense. My therapist says that's normal when you've been gaslit. Part of you keeps trying to make the pieces fit because accepting that someone fooled you so completely is too painful. I'm meeting him for dinner tonight, you hear yourself say. I haven't confronted him yet. He has no idea I know anything. What are you going to do? That's the question, isn't it? You could confront him tonight, lay out everything you've learned, demand the truth. But he'll lie. Of course he'll lie. He'll cry, he'll spin stories, he'll make you doubt Rebecca and Ashley, make you doubt yourself. That's what he does. Or you could keep pretending. Keep investigating. Build an airtight case before you strike. I'm going to that dinner, you say slowly, the plan forming as you speak. I'm going to smile and act normal. And then I'm going to figure out who the hell Marcus Hayes really is. Ashley's voice brightens with something that sounds like vindication. If you need help, I'm in. Rebecca too, I'm sure. We deserve answers. All of us. After you hang up, you sit in your car and do something that would have seemed unthinkable 48 hours ago. You create a group chat, you, Rebecca, Ashley. You title it The Recycled Ring Club, Dark Humor, but what else can you do when your life has become a tragicomedy? You type, he's taking me to dinner at Ristorante Villa. If anyone wants to accidentally show up and watch me perform normal fiancé, consider this an invitation. Rebecca responds immediately, I'll be there. This I have to see, Ashley. I'm in Portland for work next week anyway. Moved up my flight. Count me in. You put your phone down and start the car. You need to go home, shower, put on something that makes you look completely unbothered. You need to apply makeup like war paint. You need to walk into that restaurant and look Marcus in the eye and play the role of the woman who still believes his lies, because right now, information is power. And you're going to gather every scrap of it before you burn his world down. The restaurant is dimly lit in that deliberately romantic way, candles flickering on white tablecloths, soft jazz playing just loud enough to feel atmospheric without drowning out conversation, the kind of place where marriage proposals happen weekly. You spot Marcus at a corner table, already nursing what looks like a whiskey on the rocks. He stands when he sees you, that practiced smile spreading across his face, and pulls out your chair with the perfect amount of chivalry. You look incredible, he says, kissing your cheek. The contact makes your skin crawl, but you smile through it. Thanks. You're not so bad yourself. He's wearing the charcoal suit you once told him you loved, the one that makes his shoulders look broader. Everything about this is choreographed. Everything is a performance. Now that you're looking for it, you can see the calculation behind every gesture. You've barely settled into your seat when you notice Rebecca 3 tables away, partially hidden behind a couple celebrating what looks like an anniversary. She's wearing oversized sunglasses despite being indoors and has her phone positioned like she's casually scrolling, but you know she's recording. The knowledge that you have backup, that you're not alone in this, steadies your nerves. Marcus launches into a story about his day. Some tedious thing about market volatility and a difficult client. You make the appropriate listening sounds, sip the Chianti he ordered for you without asking, and watch his mouth move while thinking about how many lies have come out of it. You're quiet tonight, he observes, reaching across the table to take your hand. His thumb brushes across the ring, possessive. Everything okay? Just tired. Work was intense. The lie comes easily. You're learning from the master, after all. Well, I wanted tonight to be special. I know I've been distracted lately, but I'm ready to start really planning this wedding. He squeezes your hand. What if we set a date? Next June? That gives us 8 months to pull everything together. The audacity is breathtaking. He's doubling down, pushing forward with the charade, probably because some part of him is getting nervous, sensing your withdrawal and trying to lock you down harder. June sounds nice, you say, the words tasting like ash. Though I'd really like to meet your parents first. Properly, I mean. Maybe we could drive down to Eugene next weekend? Something flickers in his expression. There and gone in a microsecond. They're actually leaving for an extended trip to Arizona. My dad's brother is sick. Might be a while before they're back. Of course. Always an excuse. Always an obstacle. That's too bad. Maybe we could at least call them. I'd love to start building that relationship, you know? You keep your voice light, innocent. Definitely. Soon. He signals the waiter. Should we get the usual? The carbonara here is incredible. You're about to agree when your phone buzzes. A text from Rebecca, woman just walked in. Brunette, red dress, sitting at the bar. She keeps looking at your table. Marcus hasn't noticed her yet, your eyes flick to the bar. The woman is stunning, late 20s, olive skin, dark hair cascading in waves, wearing a dress that probably cost more than your monthly rent. And she's definitely watching Marcus with an expression that's part longing, part anger. Sarah? The carbonara? Oh, sure. Perfect. Your mind is racing. Who is this woman? Another ex? A current girlfriend? How many lives is Marcus juggling? The woman at the bar orders a martini, her gaze never leaving your table. She's working up the courage to do something, you can tell. Her leg bounces nervously against the bar stool, her fingers drumming against the counter. Marcus's phone buzzes. He glances at it, and that color-draining thing happens again. He types something quickly, his jaw tightening. Work, you ask sweetly. Yeah. Nothing urgent. But his leg starts bouncing under the table, a nervous tell you've never noticed before. The woman at the bar stands. She's walking toward your table. Marcus still hasn't seen her, his back is to the bar, and he's focused on his phone, typing furiously. She stops right beside your table. Marcus. He looks up, and the expression that crosses his face is pure panic before he schools it into confusion. I'm sorry, do I know you? The woman laughs, sharp and incredulous. Are you seriously going to pretend you don't know me? We were together 2 weeks ago. In Seattle. You said you were closing a deal. You stayed at my apartment. The restaurant suddenly feels very small. Very quiet. Although the other diners are continuing their meals, oblivious, it's like all the air has been sucked out of your immediate vicinity. I think you have me confused with someone else, Marcus says, his voice steady but his eyes betraying him. I've never been to Seattle recently. Really? The woman pulls out her phone, swiping through photos. So this isn't you? In my bed? 2 weeks ago. She shows you the screen before Marcus can stop her. It's definitely him, shirtless, clearly just woken up, smiling at whoever's taking the photo. The timestamp reads October 1st, a weekend he told you he was at a finance conference in San Francisco. You feel strangely calm. Maybe you've been shocked too many times in the past 48 hours and now you're numb. Maybe you're just done. Sarah, I can explain, Marcus starts. Can you? You set down your wine glass very carefully. Because I'd love to hear how you explain being in Seattle when you told me you were in San Francisco. Or how you explain proposing to me with a ring you've given to at least 2 other women. Or how you explain Rebecca. You gesture toward her table. She lowers her sunglasses and waves. Marcus's face goes from red to white to an unhealthy gray. You talk to Rebecca? She's unstable, Sarah. She's been stalking me for years. You can't believe anything she says. What about Ashley? You ask conversationally. Is she unstable too? Because I talked to her this morning, and she had very similar stories about your disappearing acts and convenient excuses. The woman in the red dress is watching this unfold with her mouth slightly open. Wait, you're engaged to him? I thought he was single. He said he was single. He says a lot of things. You finally look directly at Marcus, really look at him, and see him for what he is, a con artist, a coward, a man who's been playing a shell game with women's hearts. What's your name? You ask the newcomer. Vanessa. Vanessa Martinez. We met 3 months ago at a fundraiser in Seattle. We've been dating ever since. He comes up every few weeks for. She stops, the reality sinking in. Oh my God. You're really engaged to him? Technically. You slip the ring off your finger. It feels like removing a weight that's been drowning you. Though I think that engagement is about to be terminated. Marcus stands abruptly, nearly knocking over his chair. Can we talk about this privately? Please. You're making a scene. I'm making a scene. Your voice is still eerily calm. You're the one who's been running a relationship Ponzi scheme, and I'm the one making a scene. Rebecca appears at your elbow, phone still recording. For the record, she's being incredibly restrained. When I found out, I threw a plate at your head. Marcus looks between the three of you, counting Vanessa, who's still standing there in shock, and you can practically see him calculating. Fight or flight? Which lie to tell? How to spin this that he chooses flight? You're all crazy, he mutters, grabbing his jacket. Sarah, when you calm down and stop listening to these bitter women, call me. We can talk about this rationally. Don't hold your breath. You place the ring on the table between the candle and his abandoned whiskey. You should probably take this. I'm sure there's another woman out there who doesn't know your history yet. He stares at the ring for a long moment. Then he looks at you, and for just a second, you see something that might be genuine emotion, regret, maybe, or shame. But it's gone quickly, replaced by anger. You're going to regret this, he says quietly. The only thing I regret is saying yes in the first place. He leaves without another word, weaving through tables toward the exit. Several other diners are openly watching now, the illusion of privacy long gone. You don't care. Let them watch. Let them see what happens when a liar's house of cards collapses. Vanessa sinks into Marcus's abandoned chair, her martini forgotten at the bar. I can't believe this. We were supposed to go to Cabo next month. He said he'd never felt this way about anyone before. Did he tell you about his grandmother's ring? Rebecca asks. The Holocaust survivor one? Vanessa's eyes widen. Oh no. That was a lie too. The boarding house owner version was my favorite, you say. You feel lightheaded, like you might laugh or cry or do both simultaneously. Anyone else want to stay for dinner? Because I'm starving, and this carbonara is apparently incredible. Rebecca slides into the seat next to you. I could eat. Vanessa looks between you both, something shifting in her expression from shock to determination. You know what? Yes. Let's eat his dinner. Let's drink his wine. And then let's figure out who the hell we were all dating. The waiter approaches cautiously, clearly having witnessed at least part of the drama. Is everything all right here? Everything's perfect, you tell him. We're going to need 3 more wine glasses and maybe some appetizers. And you can take away this ring, it's not real anyway. As the waiter carefully removes the engagement ring from the table like it might explode, you look at the 2 women, the 3 women now, counting Vanessa, who've been connected by one man's lies. And you start to laugh. Really laugh, the kind that comes from somewhere deep and slightly unhinged, because what else can you do? You've just blown up your engagement in a public restaurant. You're sitting with your fiancé's ex-girlfriend and current girlfriend, about to have dinner together like this is some bizarre support group. Your phone buzzes. A text from Marcus. You're going to be sorry you embarrassed me like that. You show it to Rebecca and Vanessa. Rebecca takes your phone and types back, 3 of us here. Want to make it a threat in writing? We're collecting evidence. She hits send, then blocks his number. Trust me, she says, handing back your phone. Blocking him is the best gift you can give yourself. The wine arrives. You raise your glass, and the other women follow suit. To Eleanor Hayes, you say. Who deserves better than having her ring used to con women? To us, Vanessa adds. For being smart enough to figure it out. To revenge, Rebecca finishes. Which is a dish best served in an Italian restaurant with good wine and even better company. Your glasses clink together, and for the first time in days, you feel something other than panic or confusion. You feel powerful. The carbonara is, in fact, incredible. You eat while Vanessa tells her story, and with each revelation, the picture of Marcus Hayes becomes clearer and more disturbing. Vanessa met him at a charity auction in Seattle where she was representing her marketing firm. He bid aggressively on a weekend getaway package, won it, then approached her afterward and asked if she'd like to help him plan where to use it. Smooth. Calculated. The weekend became dinner, dinner became dating, and before she knew it, he was flying to Seattle every 2 weeks, staying at her apartment, talking about moving there permanently once he'd wrapped up some business commitments in Portland. He said he was transitioning out of his firm, Vanessa explains, twirling pasta around her fork. Said he wanted a fresh start somewhere new. I thought it was romantic, like he was building a life with me in mind. He told me he was considering a job opportunity in Chicago, you say. Said we should think about relocating after the wedding. Keep our options open. Rebecca snorts. He told me his company might transfer him to New York. Kept saying we'd have this amazing life in Manhattan. 3 cities, 3 futures, all equally fake. You're starting to understand the pattern. Marcus doesn't just lie, he builds entire fictional realities, custom tailored to each woman. He becomes whoever they need him to be. Did he ever talk about his childhood? You asked the table at large. Only child, parents divorced when he was 12, Vanessa says. Raised by his mom in Eugene. 2 brothers, close family, dad was military, Rebecca offers. Said he grew up on bases all over the country. Sister who died in a car accident when he was 16, you add. Said it made him appreciate every day. The waiter refills your wine, eyeing your table with barely concealed curiosity. You don't blame him. This is probably the most interesting thing that's happened in this restaurant all year. So we have no idea what's actually true, Vanessa says. He could be anyone. From anywhere. I tried to look him up after he ghosted me, Rebecca says. Found his LinkedIn, his company profile, basic social media. But none of it went back more than 6 years. Like he materialized in Portland in 2019 with a fully formed identity and no past. You pull out your phone, suddenly determined. What's his company called again? I've never actually looked them up properly. Cascade Financial Partners, Vanessa and you say simultaneously, you Google it. The website is sleek and professional, stock photos of handsome people in suits, vague language about wealth management and investment strategies. You click on the Our Team page. Marcus's photo is there, along with a bio that says he graduated from University of Washington with a degree in finance and has 15 years of experience in the industry. Rebecca, didn't you say his college story didn't check out? Different college in my version. He told me USC. You navigate to the University of Washington's alumni directory, search for Marcus Hayes. Nothing. You try the business school specifically. Still nothing. This is insane, Vanessa breathes. Is his job even real? Only one way to find out. You dial the main number for Cascade Financial Partners. It rings 4 times before going to a generic voicemail. You try the direct number listed for Marcus. Same thing, straight to voicemail, and the greeting is in Marcus's voice but sounds automated, impersonal. Rebecca is already typing on her phone. I'm looking up Cascade Financial Partners in the Oregon Business Registry. Her eyes scan the screen. Okay, so the company exists. Registered in 2019. But look at this, Marcus Hayes isn't listed as an employee or partner. The only name on the registration is someone called David Chin. Chin. Vanessa sits up straighter. That's my last name. Is that a coincidence? Could be. But you're all thinking the same thing. With Marcus, there are no coincidences. You spend the next hour drinking wine and playing detective with your phones. You discover that Marcus's Instagram only goes back 3 years. His Facebook is even more sparse. Barely any photos, generic posts about finance news, friends list locked down tight. His LinkedIn shows employment history, but when Rebecca calls one of his supposed former employers using a fake inquiry about a reference check, they've never heard of him. He's a ghost, you say, staring at your phone screen like it might suddenly reveal answers. Or he's hiding something big enough that he needed to create a whole new identity. Criminal record? Vanessa suggests. Maybe he's running from something. Or someone, Rebecca adds darkly, your mind is spinning through possibilities, each worse than the last. What if Marcus is married? What if he has kids somewhere? What if Marcus Hayes is just one of multiple identities he uses to con women? We need to find Ashley, you say suddenly. And we need to figure out if there are other women. If he's done this to us, he's done it to others. I'm flying in Monday, Vanessa says. I was supposed to surprise Marcus with an early visit, but obviously that's not happening now. I'll stay in Portland, help investigate. I can take some time off work, Rebecca offers. I've got vacation days saved up. And honestly, I've waited 3 years for closure. I'm not stopping now. You think about your job, your responsibilities, your life that was normal and predictable just 2 days ago. Then you think about Marcus, probably at home right now, planning his next move. Probably texting some other woman, spinning some other story, already moving on to his next victim. I'm in, you say. Let's burn this bastard's life down. The 3 of you exchange phone numbers, create a shared document for tracking information, make plans to meet Monday morning. Vanessa insists on paying for dinner. I'm expensing it as research costs, she says with grim humor. Rebecca pockets the engagement ring. I'm selling this, she announces. Whatever we get, we split 3 ways. Consider it asshole tax. Outside the restaurant, you stand together in the cool Portland night. Vanessa needs to get back to her hotel. Rebecca parked 2 blocks away. You're all heading in different directions, back to your separate lives that have just become irrevocably tangled together. This is insane, Vanessa says, and then laughs. I came to Portland to confront the guy I thought was my boyfriend. Now I'm part of some revenge squad with his ex and his fiancée. Ex-fiancée, you correct. Very ex. Rebecca pulls you both into a hug, and for a moment, you just stand there, 3 women who should be strangers, united by betrayal and determination. When you pull apart, there are tears in Rebecca's eyes. Thank you, she says quietly. For believing me. For not thinking I'm crazy or bitter or whatever Marcus probably said about me. Thank you for warning me, you counter. You could have just let me marry him. Let me figure it out the hard way. Nobody deserves that, Rebecca says firmly. Nobody. You watch them leave, Vanessa climbing into an Uber, Rebecca walking toward her car with her hands shoved in her jacket pockets. Then you're alone on the sidewalk, the restaurant's warm glow spilling onto the street behind you, your phone buzzes. A text from Jenna, how's dinner? Did you talk to him about the weirdness? You stare at the message, unsure how to even begin explaining. Finally, you type, dinner was eventful. Call you tomorrow. It's a long story. As you walk to your car, you pass couples holding hands, groups of friends laughing over shared plates at outdoor tables, a guy proposing to his girlfriend in front of a street musician. Normal people having normal nights, their lives uncomplicated by the realization that everything they believed about their partner was a lie. You wonder how many of them are living in Marcus-style fictions, blissfully unaware. When you get home, Luna nearly tackles you with excitement, and you sink onto the floor, letting her lick your face while you try to process everything. Your apartment looks the same as it did this morning, but you're different. The woman who left here this morning still believed in fairy tales. The woman who came back knows better. You pour yourself a glass of water, sit on your couch, and open your laptop. Time to do what you should have done months ago. Really investigate the man you almost married. You start with basic searches, but quickly move into deeper territory. Public records. Court documents. Background check websites. You're looking for anything: marriages, divorces, lawsuits, criminal records, anything that might explain who Marcus Hayes really is. 3 hours later, you found exactly nothing. It's like he barely exists on paper before 2019. A few traffic tickets in Portland. That business registration Rebecca found. But nothing substantial. No history. No depth that you're about to give up when you try one more search variation, Marcus Hayes, and fraud. The results populate, and one catches your eye. A news article from a Denver newspaper, dated 2018. You click it, and your blood runs cold. Local man charged with romance fraud scheme. The article describes a man named Marcus Holden who was charged with defrauding multiple women out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. He'd pose as a wealthy investor, romance them, gain access to their finances, and disappear. The charges were eventually dropped due to insufficient evidence. Most victims refused to testify, embarrassed by the situation. There's a photo. It's grainy, a courthouse sketch rather than a photograph. But the features are similar enough to make your breath catch. The same jawline. The same general build. You screenshot the article, send it to the group chat with Rebecca and Vanessa. You found something. Could be nothing. Could be everything. Within seconds, both of them are typing, Rebecca, holy shit. That looks like him. Vanessa, Denver 2018. He told me he'd never been to Colorado. He told me his favorite ski trip was in Aspen. Said he went every year. The lies are fractal, each one containing infinite smaller lies within it. Your phone rings. It's Rebecca, her voice tight with barely controlled rage. If that's him, if Marcus Hayes is actually Marcus Holden, then we're not dealing with a serial cheater. We're dealing with a career criminal. We need to find out for sure, you say. We need proof. I know someone, Rebecca says slowly. A private investigator I consulted when Marcus first disappeared. She was expensive, and I couldn't afford to hire her back then. But maybe if we split the cost, do it, you and Vanessa say simultaneously. Monday morning, Rebecca confirms. I'll call her first thing. In the meantime, don't contact Marcus. Don't respond if he reaches out. We need him to think he's got time to figure out his next move. After you hang up, you sit in the quiet of your apartment, Luna's head heavy on your lap. Your engagement is over. Your relationship was a lie. And the man you loved, or thought you loved, might be a con artist who's done this before, who'll do it again if you don't stop him. The ring is gone. The illusion is shattered. Now comes the hard part. Finding out who Marcus Hayes really is, and making sure he never does this to anyone else. Monday morning arrives with rain hammering against your windows, Portland weather matching your mood perfectly. You've barely slept. Every time you closed your eyes, you saw Marcus's face, heard his lies, felt the weight of that ring on your finger. Luna seems to sense your distress, refusing to leave your side, following you from room to room like a furry shadow that you've called in sick again. Your assistant is concerned, your boss is understanding but clearly confused about what could possibly be wrong with their usually reliable senior director. You promise to be back Wednesday at the latest, then silence your work phone and focus on what matters. The private investigator Rebecca recommended is named Diana Kovac, and her office is in a converted warehouse in the Pearl District. All exposed brick and industrial windows, the kind of space that probably costs a fortune despite looking deliberately unfinished. You, Rebecca, and Vanessa arrive within minutes of each other, huddling under the building's awning to escape the downpour. Ready for this? Rebecca asks, and you're not sure if she's asking you or herself. Diana's office is on the 3rd floor. She's younger than you expected, maybe 40, with short silver hair and sharp eyes that seem to catalog everything about you in seconds. Her handshake is firm, professional. Rebecca filled me in on the basics, she says, gesturing for you all to sit. Her desk is organized chaos, case files, a laptop with multiple windows open, a coffee mug that says, "Trust no one." Before we go further, I need to be clear about costs and realistic expectations. Background investigations can get expensive quickly, and there are no guarantees I'll find what you're looking for. How expensive? Vanessa asks. Diana names a figure that makes you wince, but then she adds, "That's for comprehensive work, financial records, background check across multiple states, possible identity verification. If you just want basic confirmation of employment and address history, I can do that for 1/3 of the cost." We want comprehensive, you say, and Rebecca and Vanessa nod in agreement. If this guy is who we think he is, we need everything. All right. Diana opens a laptop. Let's start with what you know, and I'll tell you what I can verify. For the next hour, you lay out everything. The engagement ring recycled between multiple women. The inconsistent stories about his family. The suspicious job history. The Denver article about Marcus Holden. The deleted text messages. The Seattle trips. Diana listens without interrupting, occasionally typing notes. When you finish, she leans back in her chair. Okay. First thing, that Denver case is interesting, but we need to be careful about jumping to conclusions. Physical similarity isn't proof of identity. However, it's absolutely worth investigating. She pulls up the courthouse sketch from the Denver article, then opens what looks like a facial recognition program. Do you have recent photos of your Marcus Hayes? You pull up his Instagram on your phone, screenshot his profile picture, and airdrop it to Diana's laptop. She uploads both images, and the program analyzes them, highlighting facial landmarks, distance between eyes, nose width, jaw angle. The screen flashes, 87% match probability. That's high, Diana says. Not conclusive in court, but high enough to warrant deeper investigation. The problem is, if Marcus Holden changed his identity after those charges were dropped, he did it legally or he's very good at covering his tracks. Can people really just change their identities like that? Vanessa asks. Legally? Yes, through the court system, though there's a paper trail. Illegally? Also yes, if you know what you're doing and have the resources. You can buy identity documents on the dark web. You can assume a dead person's identity. There's a whole industry around it. Diana's expression is grim. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. First, I need to verify basic information. Rebecca, you said you found his business registration? Rebecca pulls up the information on her phone. Diana takes notes, then starts typing rapidly. You watch her work, pulling up databases and websites you didn't even know existed. Oregon Secretary of State Business Registry. Property records. Vehicle registrations. Credit reports. Don't ask how I access these, she mutters. After 20 minutes, she sits back. Okay, here's what I can confirm immediately. Cascade Financial Partners is registered, but Marcus Hayes is not listed as an officer or partner. The sole owner is David Chin, like Rebecca found. I've got an address for the business. It's a virtual office space, one of those places where you rent a mailing address and occasional conference room access. So his job might be fake, you ask. Or he's an independent contractor working under someone else's company umbrella. That's not uncommon in finance. Diana keeps typing. However, I can't find any Oregon financial advisor license for Marcus Hayes. If he's giving investment advice, he's legally required to be licensed. That's a red flag. She pulls up more screens. His driver's license and vehicle registration check out. He's got a 2022 Audi registered to an address in the Northwest District. She gives you the street name, and your stomach drops. It's not the address Marcus gave you. He said he lived in the Pearl District, a condo with river views. That's not his apartment, you say. He told me he lived on Lovejoy Street. Diana's eyebrow raises. Well, according to the state, he lives on Vaughn. Want me to check property records? She's already typing before you answer. No property ownership under Marcus Hayes in Portland. But there's a rental agreement. I've got a contact at a property management company. Let me make a call. She steps out of the office, phone pressed to her ear. You, Rebecca, and Vanessa sit in heavy silence. He lied about where he lived, Vanessa finally says. Why would someone lie about that? Because he's got something at that apartment he doesn't want anyone to see, Rebecca suggests. Or someone. The thought hadn't occurred to you, but now it's all you can think about. What if there's another woman? What if there's a whole other life at that Vaughn Street address? Diana returns, her expression carefully neutral. Interesting development. The Vaughn Street property is leased to a Marcus Hayes, but according to my contact, the lease was signed by both Marcus Hayes and a woman named Jennifer Morrison. She's listed as co-tenant. The room tilts. Who the hell is Jennifer Morrison? That's what I'm going to find out. Diana's fingers fly across the keyboard. Within minutes, she's pulled up social media profiles. Here. Jennifer Morrison, age 34, works as a nurse at OHSU. And look at this, photos from her Instagram. She turns the laptop toward you. Jennifer Morrison is blonde, pretty in a girl next door way, smiling in photos taken around Portland. You scroll through her feed, and your heart stops that there's a photo from 3 months ago. Jennifer and Marcus, at what looks like a backyard barbecue. His arm is around her waist. The caption reads, "Perfect summer day with my person, oh my God," Vanessa breathes. He's living with someone. You keep scrolling, numb. More photos of Marcus and Jennifer, hiking, at restaurants, at what looks like a family gathering with people who must be her relatives. The most recent photo is from 2 weeks ago, date night with this guy 2 weeks ago. After he proposed to you. While he was supposedly in San Francisco at a conference. While he was also visiting Vanessa in Seattle. How, you whisper. How is this even possible? Time management, Diana says, her tone clinical. If Jennifer works hospital shifts, which are often 12 hours, sometimes overnight, that gives him large blocks of time when she's gone. He tells her he's at work, he tells you he's working late, he tells Vanessa he's closing deals in Portland. Everyone gets a different story, and as long as he keeps the timelines separated, nobody knows about the others. Rebecca looks like she might be sick. Was he living with someone when he was with me too? I'll need time to investigate his 2021 address history, but given the pattern? Probably. You think about all the times Marcus couldn't stay over at your place because he had early meetings. All the weekends he was mysteriously unavailable. The way he never invited you to his apartment, always suggesting you meet at restaurants or go to your place instead. You thought he was being considerate, not wanting to impose. But really, he was hiding an entire life. I need to talk to her, you say suddenly. Jennifer. She deserves to know. Diana holds up a hand. I understand the impulse, but think strategically. Right now, Marcus doesn't know how much you've figured out. If you approach Jennifer, he'll find out immediately, and he'll either disappear or go into damage control mode. We need more information first. Like what? Vanessa demands. We already know he's a lying, cheating sociopath. What more do we need? If he's Marcus Holden, if he's committed fraud, we need proof. We need to understand his financial situation. Is he scamming these women for money? We need to know if there are other victims. And we need to build a case solid enough that if we go to the police, they'll actually do something. Diana's voice is firm. Trust me, I've seen situations like this fall apart because people acted on emotion instead of strategy. You want justice? We do this right. You hate that she makes sense. You want to storm over to that Vaughan Street apartment right now, pound on the door, tell Jennifer Morrison everything. But Diana's right, Marcus needs to believe he's still in control, still managing his web of lies, while you quietly dismantle it. How long will this take? Rebecca asks. Give me a week for the comprehensive report. I'll track his financial records, verify his employment situation, dig into the Denver connection, and see if I can find other women who might have been involved with him. In the meantime, you three need to lay low. Don't contact him. Don't post anything on social media that suggests you're working together. Act normal. Normal, you repeat hollowly. Right. I'll just go about my life like I didn't discover my fiancé is living a double life with a woman I never knew existed. Diana's expression softens slightly. I know this is hell. But you're doing the right thing. Most people in your situation never get answers, never get closure, never get justice. You're getting all three. As you're leaving, Diana hands each of you a business card. My cell number is on the back. If Marcus contacts you with anything suspicious, threats, attempts at reconciliation, anything, call me immediately. And document everything. Screenshots, recordings if you're in a one-party consent state for that, which Oregon is, anything that might be useful later. Outside, the rain has softened to a drizzle. The three of you stand under the awning again, processing. Jennifer Morrison, Vanessa says quietly. That's victim number 4. That we know of. And Ashley makes 5, Rebecca adds. Jesus. How many others are there? You think about the ring, Eleanor Hayes's ring, passed from woman to woman like a cursed talisman. How many hands has it been on? How many women heard the same lies about the boarding house, the Holocaust, the Depression? We're going to stop him, you say, and it's not a question. It's a promise. Diana's going to dig up everything, and then we're going to make sure Marcus Hayes, or Holden, or whatever his real name is, never does this to anyone else. Your phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. We need to talk. I'm sorry about the restaurant. Can we meet, Marcus? Using a new number because you blocked his old one. You show the text to Rebecca and Vanessa. Rebecca's jaw tightens. Vanessa looks murderous. What do I say, you ask? Nothing, Rebecca advises. Let him sweat. But you've got a better idea. You type, I need some time. This is all too much. Give me space. His response is immediate, of course. Take all the time you need. I love you. You pocket your phone, feeling something cold and hard settling in your chest. Let him think you're confused, emotional, malleable. Let him believe he still has a chance, because the moment Diana delivers that report, the moment you have everything you need, Marcus's carefully constructed world is going to collapse, and you're going to be the one holding the sledgehammer. The week that follows is the longest of your life. You go back to work on Wednesday as promised, forcing yourself to sit through meetings and review campaign analytics while your mind churns through everything you've learned. Your colleagues notice you're distracted, but they attribute it to wedding stress. If only they knew, Jenna corners you in the break room on Thursday, concern etched across her face. Okay, what's going on? You've been dodging my calls since Sunday, you look like you haven't slept in days, and I noticed you're not wearing your ring. You glance at your bare left hand. The tan line is already fading. Marcus and I broke up. What? Her coffee sloshes dangerously close to the rim. Sarah, what happened? You give her the sanitized version, found out he was cheating, discovered he'd lied about multiple things, ended the engagement. You don't mention Rebecca, Vanessa, Jennifer, or the possibility that your ex-fiancé is a career criminal. Jenna doesn't need all that weight yet. Oh my God. She pulls you into a hug right there in the break room, not caring who sees. I'm so sorry. Do you want me to key his car? Slash his tires? I will absolutely slash his tires. Despite everything, you laugh. Hold that thought. I might take you up on it later. That evening, the group chat with Rebecca and Vanessa has become your lifeline. You share updates, vent frustrations, send screenshots of Marcus's increasingly desperate texts from his new number. He's playing the wounded lover now, asking what he did wrong, begging for another chance to explain. Vanessa, he sent me flowers at work. The card said, I'm sorry for the confusion. The confusion. Like he accidentally showed up to the wrong meeting. Rebecca, classic narcissist language. It's not, I'm sorry I lied, or I'm sorry I hurt you. It's sorry for the confusion, like we're the ones who misunderstood you. He wants to meet for coffee. Says he deserves a chance to tell his side of the story. Rebecca, don't do it. Not yet. Wait for Diana's report, but curiosity is eating you alive. You want to look Marcus in the eye, watch him try to explain the unexplainable. You want to see if he's capable of telling the truth, or if lies are so fundamental to his nature that honesty isn't even an option anymore. Friday afternoon, Diana calls. I've got preliminary findings. Can you three meet me tomorrow morning? You're there at 9 a.m., coffee in hand despite knowing caffeine is the last thing your jangled nerves need. Diana's office looks even more chaotic than before, printouts and folders covering every surface, a whiteboard behind her desk now filled with names and dates connected by red string like something from a conspiracy thriller. Before I start, Diana says, I want to warn you that some of this is going to be difficult to hear. I've been doing this job for 15 years, and this case ranks in the top 5 most disturbing I've encountered. The three of you exchange glances. Rebecca reaches over and takes your hand. Vanessa does the same on your other side. Marcus Hayes is definitely Marcus Holden. Diana begins. The facial recognition was preliminary, but I found the proof. He legally changed his name in Nevada in 2019, 6 months after the Denver fraud charges were dropped. Nevada has looser requirements than some states. He filed as Marcus James Holden, changed it to Marcus James Hayes, claimed it was for personal and professional reasons. The court approved it. So the Denver case is real, you say? He was charged with fraud. Yes. And I tracked down 2 of his victims from that case. Diana pulls out a folder. Both women agreed to speak with me. Neither wanted their names used publicly, but they gave me permission to share their stories with you. She slides a document across the desk. You scan it, your horror growing with each paragraph. Woman A, a 38-year-old accountant, met Marcus Holden at a Denver charity event in 2017. He claimed to be a hedge fund manager. They dated for 6 months. He convinced her to invest $75,000 in a guaranteed opportunity. The money disappeared. When she tried to get it back, he ghosted her. Woman B, a 41-year-old doctor, met Marcus Holden through a dating app in 2018. He told her he was starting a tech company, showed her fake incorporation documents, convinced her to invest $120,000 as a founding partner. When she got suspicious and hired a lawyer, Marcus disappeared. The company never existed. Nearly $200,000, Vanessa whispers. Between just those two women. And those are only the ones who were willing to testify initially. The prosecutor told me there were at least 4 other women who'd been scammed but refused to come forward. Some were married and having affairs with Marcus. Some were too embarrassed. The case fell apart without enough cooperative witnesses. Diana pulls up more documents. After the name change, Marcus Hayes appeared in Portland. He got a legitimate Oregon ID, opened a bank account, started building a credit history. On paper, he's clean. Marcus Holden's criminal record doesn't follow Marcus Hayes because legally, they're different people. That's insane, Rebecca says. How is that legal? Name changes are meant to give people fresh starts, abuse victims, transgender individuals, people escaping dangerous situations. The system assumes good faith. Marcus exploited that. Diana's expression is grim. Now, here's where it gets interesting. I accessed his financial records. Again, don't ask how. Marcus Hayes hasn't been scamming you for money. At least, not in the traditional sense. She pulls up a spreadsheet. He's got a decent income. His job is real. He does contract financial advising through David Chen's company. Makes about $90,000 a year, which is solid but not impressive. He's got moderate credit card debt, nothing extreme. No major assets. He pays his rent on time. So what's his angle, you ask? If he's not stealing money, what's the point of juggling multiple women? Control. Validation. The thrill of getting away with it. Diana leans forward. Some people con for money. Others con because the deception itself is what they're addicted to. Marcus seems to be the latter type. He maintains multiple relationships because he can. Because it makes him feel powerful. Because every woman who believes his lies is proof he's smarter than everyone else. She clicks to another document. I also found evidence he's done this repeatedly. I tracked down 3 more women from his Portland years, before any of you. 2 were short-term relationships that ended when the women got suspicious. The 3rd was engaged to him in 2020. Her name is Kelly Patterson. She broke it off when she discovered he was also seeing someone else. Let me guess, Rebecca says bitterly. He proposed with the ring. He proposed with a ring. I don't know if it was the same one. Kelly wouldn't talk to me in detail. She's moved on, got married to someone else, doesn't want to revisit that time in her life. But yes, he's been doing this for at least 5 years in Portland alone. You feel sick. 5 years of women. 5 years of lies. How many hearts broken? How many futures derailed? How many women blamed themselves for his cruelty? What about Jennifer Morrison? Vanessa asks. The one he's living with. Does she know? Diana shakes her head. I don't think so. Her social media suggests she believes they're in a committed, monogamous relationship. She posts about him frequently, talks about their future together. I did some digging into her background. She's divorced, single mom to a 7-year-old daughter. Works long shifts at the hospital. She's exactly the kind of target Marcus prefers. Busy, independent women who won't question why he needs space or has irregular hours. A single mom. Marcus is playing house with a woman who has a child. The thought makes your stomach turn. Here's what I recommend, Diana says. You have three options. 1. You can confront Marcus directly with all of this information. He'll deny it, possibly threaten legal action for defamation or invasion of privacy, and likely disappear again. 2. You can go to the police with what I've found. The problem is, being a serial cheater isn't illegal. His fraud history is in a different state under a different name. Oregon police might not be able or willing to pursue it. 3. You can warn Jennifer and any other current victims, blow up his life, and let the social consequences be his punishment. I want option 4, you say. All of the above. Diana smiles grimly. I was hoping you'd say that. Here's my suggestion. We orchestrate the confrontation. We get Marcus somewhere he can't easily escape, we bring Jennifer, and we lay out everything. We record the whole thing. Oregon is one-party consent for recording conversations, so as long as one person in the conversation knows they're being recorded, it's legal. We get him on record admitting to what he's done. Then we decide whether to take that to police or just ensure everyone in his life knows who he really is. When? Rebecca asks, and there's steel in her voice. You tell me. How quickly do you want to move? You think about Marcus, still texting you, still playing the role of the apologetic boyfriend who just needs one more chance. You think about Jennifer Morrison, posting happy photos with a man who's betraying her with at least 3 other women. You think about Kelly Patterson and Ashley and Woman A and Woman B and all the others who've suffered because Marcus Hayes, or Holden, or whatever name he's using next, gets off on deception. This weekend, you say. Let's do it this weekend. Vanessa nods. Rebecca squeezes your hand tighter. All right. Diana starts typing. Here's how we're going to do this. For the next 2 hours, you plan. Diana will contact Jennifer Morrison, tell her she's investigating Marcus for potential fraud, ask her to meet under the guise of answering some questions. You'll text Marcus, tell him you're ready to talk, suggest meeting at a neutral location, Diana's office, though Marcus won't know that until he arrives. Ashley is flying in Saturday morning. She deserves to be there too. What if he doesn't show? Vanessa asks. He'll show, Diana says confidently. Men like Marcus can't resist the opportunity to manipulate their way out of trouble. He thinks he's smarter than everyone. That's his weakness, his arrogance. As you're leaving, Diana hands you a small recording device. Keep this on you when he arrives. We'll have other cameras too, but redundancy is important. And Sarah? Whatever happens in that room, remember, you're not the villain here. He is. Don't let him make you doubt that. That night, you lie awake staring at your ceiling, Luna snoring softly beside you. In less than 48 hours, Marcus is going to walk into an ambush. He's going to face every woman he's lied to, every future he's destroyed. The thought should feel like victory, instead, you just feel tired. Tired of thinking about him, tired of replaying memories and wondering which moments were real and which were performance. Tired of the space he's taking up in your brain, but soon, you remind yourself. Soon this will be over. Soon Marcus Hayes will be exposed, and you can start the process of healing, you just have to survive the confrontation first. Saturday morning arrives with deceptive sunshine, the kind of crisp October day that would normally make you want to grab coffee and walk along the river. Instead, you're sitting in Diana's office at 10 a.m., your hands shaking so badly you can barely hold your water bottle. Rebecca arrived first, dressed like she's going to war, black jeans, leather jacket, her hair pulled back severely. Vanessa came next, looking less put together than usual, dark circles under her eyes suggesting she slept as poorly as you did. Ashley flew in at 7 this morning and came straight from the airport, her carry-on bag still at her feet. I can't believe this is happening, Ashley says for the third time. I thought I'd never see him again. Never get to ask him why. You'll get your chance, Diana assures her. She's setting up cameras in strategic locations around the office. One on her bookshelf, one hidden in a plant, one on her desk angled to capture the whole room. Jennifer should be here any minute. Remember, she doesn't know what this is about yet. Be gentle. Jennifer Morrison arrives at 10:15, apologizing for running late. Her daughter's soccer practice went long. She's prettier in person than in her photos, with kind eyes and an easy smile that makes your heart ache. She has no idea what's about to happen. Thanks for meeting me, Diana says, guiding Jennifer to a chair. I know this is unusual, but I'm investigating some irregularities related to Marcus Hayes, and I wanted to ask you some questions. Jennifer's smile falters. Irregularities? Is Marcus in some kind of trouble? That's what we're trying to determine. First, can you tell me about your relationship with him? How long have you been together? About 2 years. We met at a friend's birthday party. We moved in together last year. Jennifer glances around, seeming to notice the rest of you for the first time. Her expression shifts from confused to concerned. Wait, who are all of you? Before Diana can answer, there's a knock at the door. Your heart stops. Marcus's voice calls out, Sarah? You said you were ready to talk. Diana opens the door. Marcus steps in, and the look on his face when he sees everyone is almost comical, his expression cycling through confusion, recognition, panic, and forced calm in about 3 seconds. What's going on? His voice is controlled, but you can see the muscle in his jaw twitching. He's wearing the navy sweater you once told him brought out his eyes. Even now, he's trying to be appealing. Marcus. Jennifer stands, her voice uncertain. Why is Sarah here? Who are these people? He looks at her, then at you, then at the cameras he's now spotted around the room. This is a setup. Sarah, what the hell are you doing? Sit down, Marcus. Diana's voice is firm. Or you can leave, but then we'll just have this conversation without you and send the recording to everyone you know. For a moment, you think he might bolt. His body tenses, and his eyes dart to the door. But curiosity, or arrogance, wins out. He sits in the chair Diana indicates, positioning himself so his back isn't to anyone. Jennifer, you say, your voice surprisingly steady. I'm sorry you got dragged into this. But you deserve to know the truth. Marcus and I were engaged. He proposed 3 months ago with his grandmother's ring. We were planning a wedding. Jennifer's face goes white. That's not possible. Marcus and I are together. We live together. She turns to him. Marcus, tell them this is insane. He opens his mouth, then closes it. For once, the smooth talker has no words. Rebecca? Diana prompts. Rebecca stands. Marcus and I were engaged 3 years ago. Same ring. Same stories about his grandmother. He ghosted me, disappeared with no explanation, changed his number and blocked me everywhere. Vanessa? Diana continues. Vanessa's voice shakes with rage. We've been dating for 4 months. He told me he was single, that he came to Seattle every few weeks for work. We were planning a future together. Ashley? Ashley doesn't stand, just stares at Marcus with tears streaming down her face. 5 years ago. Engaged. He left me thinking I'd done something wrong, that I wasn't enough. I blamed myself for years. Jennifer is openly crying now. No, this is wrong. Marcus, tell them they're lying. Tell them, I can explain, Marcus says, and his voice has shifted into that soothing tone you remember from when he'd talk you down from being upset. These women are confused. Rebecca and I dated briefly, but she became obsessive after I ended things. Sarah and I had a relationship, but she knew I was still figuring things out with you, Jennifer. We never agreed to be exclusive. Bullshit. Vanessa surges to her feet. I have texts, Marcus. I have photos. I have receipts from restaurants where you paid for dinner while Jennifer was at work and Sarah thought you were at a conference. Diana pulls out the folders she's prepared. Marcus James Holden. That's your real name, isn't it? You changed it legally in Nevada in 2019 after being charged with fraud in Denver. You scammed at least 2 women out of nearly $200,000. The charges were dropped, but that doesn't mean you're innocent. It means you got away with it. The color drains from his face. For the first time, you see real fear in his eyes. I don't know what you're talking about, he says, but his voice wavers. Woman A, accountant, $75,000. Woman B, doctor, $120,000. Diana reads from her file. You promised them investment opportunities that didn't exist. You created fake documents, fake companies. And when they got suspicious, you vanished. Jennifer is staring at Marcus like she's never seen him before. Is this true? Did you change your name? Did you steal from people? Jennifer, sweetheart, you have to understand. He reaches for her, but she flinches away. Don't touch me. Just answer the question. Did you do what they're saying? The silence stretches. You can hear traffic outside, the hum of Diana's laptop, Jennifer's ragged breathing. Marcus looks at each of you in turn, and you can practically see him calculating. Which lie to tell? Which woman to blame? How to spin this? Finally, he laughs. It's a bitter, defeated sound. You think you're so smart. You think you've figured everything out. Marcus, Jennifer tries again. The Denver thing was a misunderstanding, he says. Those women knew what they were investing in. When it didn't pan out, they got vindictive. I changed my name because I wanted a fresh start, not because I'm a criminal. And the engagement ring, you ask quietly. The one you gave to me, Rebecca, and Ashley? The one you told us 3 different stories about? It is my grandmother's ring. I can use it however I want. So you admit it, Rebecca says. You admit you proposed to multiple women with the same ring. I proposed to women I cared about at the time. Things didn't work out. That's called dating. Dating? Vanessa's voice is shrill. You were living with Jennifer while sleeping with me. That's not dating, Marcus. That's sociopathic. Jennifer stands abruptly. I need to leave. I can't process this right now. Jennifer, wait. Marcus stands too. Don't let these bitter women poison you against me. We have something real. You know that. Something real? Jennifer's laugh is ugly. You've been lying to me for 2 years. Living a completely separate life while I introduced you to my daughter, while I posted about our future, while I turned down other opportunities because I thought we were building something together. She looks at him with such raw pain that you have to look away. Did you ever love me? Or was I just another challenge? Another conquest? Of course I love you. You and Mia mean everything to me. Don't you dare say my daughter's name. Jennifer's voice drops to something dangerous. Don't you ever say her name again. She grabs her purse and heads for the door. Diana moves to stop her, but you shake your head. Let her go. Let her process this on her own terms, after Jennifer leaves, the room feels smaller. Marcus sinks back into his chair, and for a moment, you see something that might be genuine emotion cross his face. Regret? Shame? Or just frustration that he got caught? Why? The word comes out before you can stop it. Just tell us why. Why do this to people? He's quiet for so long you think he won't answer. Then he says, "You wouldn't understand." "Try us," Rebecca says coldly. "It's like a game." His voice is distant, like he's talking about someone else. You meet someone, and they're interesting, and you wonder if you can make them fall for you. And when they do, when they believe everything you tell them, when they look at you like you're their whole world, it's powerful. It's intoxicating. "So we were entertainment," Ashley says flatly. "Our feelings were just fuel for your ego. I did care about you. All of you, in different ways." He looks up, and you're shocked to see tears in his eyes. Fake tears? Real tears? Does it even matter? "I'm not a monster. I have a problem. I know that. I need help." "You need help?" Vanessa's voice drips with disgust. "You've destroyed lives, Marcus. You've made women question their reality, their worth, their ability to trust. And now you want sympathy? I want you to understand that I'm not what?" You interrupt. "Not a bad person. Not intentionally cruel. Marcus, you are exactly what you've done. And what you've done is monstrous." He slumps in the chair, the tears coming faster now. "What do you want from me? An apology? Fine. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I hurt you, all of you. I'm sorry I lied. What else do you want?" Diana steps forward. "We want you to stop. We want you to get actual professional help, not just say you need it. And we want you to understand that if you do this again, if you hurt another woman, we will make sure everyone knows exactly who you are." "Is that a threat?" "It's a promise," Rebecca says. "We've documented everything. We have this recording. We have testimonies from Denver. We have proof of your lies. One more victim, Marcus, and we go public. We go to every news outlet, every social media platform, every corner of the internet until Marcus Hayes becomes synonymous with fraud and manipulation." "You can't do that. That's defamation. It's only defamation if it's false," Diana says calmly. "Truth is an absolute defense. And we have the truth." Marcus looks between the four of you, and you can see the moment he realizes he's actually beaten. There's no charm to deploy, no lie big enough to cover this, no way to manipulate his way out. He's been exposed, and all the power he held is gone. "Can I go?" His voice is small, nothing like the confident man who walked in 30 minutes ago. "You can go," Diana says. "But Marcus? Don't contact any of these women again. Don't try to explain or apologize or win them back. If you have belongings at Jennifer's apartment, arrange through a third party to get them. Consider this your one chance to walk away without legal consequences." He stands on shaky legs and heads for the door. Before he leaves, he turns back one last time. "For what it's worth, I really did love some of you." "No, you didn't," you say firmly. "You don't know what love is. But maybe someday you'll figure it out. And when you do, maybe you'll understand what you've destroyed." The door closes behind him with a soft click. For a long moment, nobody moves. Then Ashley starts crying, really crying, the kind of deep sobs that come from years of held-back pain. Rebecca puts her arms around her, and then Vanessa joins, and then you're all huddled together, for women bound by betrayal, finally getting the closure you deserved. It's over, Diana says softly. You did it. But it doesn't feel over. Not quite yet. The hours after Marcus leaves Diana's office blur together in a surreal haze. You order pizza that nobody really eats, passing slices around while replaying the confrontation, dissecting every moment, every word, every crack in Marcus's facade. Did you see his face when Jennifer walked out? Vanessa says, breaking off a piece of crust. That was real pain. Maybe the only real emotion he showed the entire time. He lost his safety net, Rebecca observes. Jennifer was his home base, his cover story. Without her, his whole operation collapses. Ashley has finally stopped crying, though her eyes are red and swollen. I can't believe he actually admitted it. Not everything, but enough. After 5 years of thinking I imagined the whole thing, of wondering if I was crazy, hearing him say he did it on purpose, that we were all just games to him, at least now you know, you say, though the words feel hollow. It's not closure exactly, but it's something. Diana prints copies of the recording, stores backups in 3 separate cloud locations, and creates a detailed report of everything she's found. This is your insurance policy, she explains, handing each of you a USB drive. If Marcus resurfaces, if he tries this again, you have proof. You have power. Power. The word echoes in your mind as you drive home that evening, Luna greeting you at the door with her usual enthusiasm, completely oblivious to the fact that your entire life just shifted on its axis. You sink onto the couch, and she climbs into your lap, too big to be a lap dog but trying anyway. Your phone buzzes. A text from Jenna, wine night tomorrow? You sound like you need it, you do need it. You need normal. You need to talk to someone who isn't connected to the Marcus disaster, someone who knew you before the proposal, before the lies, before everything. Sunday evening, you're on Jenna's couch with a generous pour of Pinot Noir, finally telling her the full story. Her expressions cycle through disbelief, horror, rage, and back to disbelief as you explain about Rebecca, Vanessa, Ashley, Jennifer, the ring, the name change, the Denver fraud charges. This is insane, she says when you finish. This is absolutely insane. Sarah, you could sell this story to Netflix. I don't want Netflix money. I just want to forget it ever happened. Will you be able to? Forget, I mean. Jenna refills your glass. This is going to be part of your story now. The time you were engaged to a con artist. She's right, and the realization sits heavy in your chest. You'll carry this forward. Future first dates will eventually require the explanation of why you're cautious, why you ask too many questions, why you need to verify everything. You'll meet someone's grandmother and wonder if the family stories are real. You'll see an engagement ring and think about recycled promises. I don't know how to trust again, you admit. Marcus made me doubt my own judgment. If I fell for his lies so completely, how can I trust myself to see the truth in someone else? Jenna considers this. You fell for his lies because he's a professional liar. That's not a reflection of your judgment, it's a reflection of his skill. And yeah, maybe you'll be more cautious now. But Sarah, you were the one who figured it out. You saw the inconsistencies. You investigated. You didn't just accept his gaslighting and move forward. You're stronger than you think. Maybe she's right. Maybe there's strength in how you handled this, in how you all handled this together. For women who could have stayed isolated, blamed themselves, moved on without answers. Instead, you found each other and fought back. Monday morning, you're at work trying to focus on a campaign review when your phone explodes with notifications. You open your messages to find the group chat, titled The Recycled Ring Club, on fire. Rebecca, Jennifer just called me. She's kicking Marcus out. Changed the locks. His stuff is on the curb, Vanessa, good for her. Did she say how she's doing, Rebecca? Not great, obviously. But she's angry more than sad, which I think is healthy. She wants to meet up with us. Says she needs to talk to people who understand you. Is that a good idea? She's been through enough without having to rehash everything, Rebecca, she specifically asked. Said she needs to hear our stories, needs to know she's not alone in this. So Wednesday evening, you're back at that same coffee shop where Rebecca first approached you, the place where this all started to unravel. It feels appropriate somehow, closing the circle. Jennifer arrives with her daughter's soccer practice bag over her shoulder and exhaustion written across her face. Thanks for meeting me, she says, sliding into the booth. I know this is weird. I've been driving myself crazy trying to understand, and I realize the only people who might have answers are you. Over the next 2 hours, Jennifer shares her story. How Marcus was attentive and loving at first, how he integrated himself into her life carefully, earning Mia's trust, attending school events, being the partner she thought she'd never find after her divorce. How the inconsistencies started small, missed calls, unexplained absences, stories that didn't quite add up. How she questioned herself, made excuses for him, chose to believe because believing was easier than confronting. I feel so stupid, she says, tears spilling over. My ex-husband cheated on me. I swore I'd never let it happen again, that I'd be smarter, more careful. And then I did the exact same thing, ignored red flags, trusted someone I shouldn't have. You're not stupid, Rebecca says firmly. None of us are. Marcus is good at this. It's what he does. He studies people, figures out what they need, and becomes that person. You didn't fail some test. He's a predator, and predators are good at hunting. What do I tell Mia? Jennifer's voice breaks. She loved him. She called him Marcus the cool guy and asked when he was going to be her stepdad. How do I explain that he was lying to us the whole time? None of you have a good answer for that. The thought of a 7-year-old girl having to learn that adults sometimes lie, that the people you trust can hurt you, it's almost worse than your own heartbreak. Tell her the truth, Vanessa finally says. Age-appropriate truth, but truth. That Marcus made bad choices, that sometimes grown-ups aren't who we think they are, and that it's not her fault. Kids are resilient. And she's got you, a mom who's strong enough to protect her. Jennifer nods, wiping her eyes. I sold the ring. Well, I'm selling it. Rebecca was right, Eleanor Hayes deserves better than being part of Marcus's con. I found an estate jewelry buyer who's giving me $5,000 for it. I'm splitting it 5 ways, you 4 and me. We all earned it. Jennifer, you don't have to, you start. Yes, I do. I need something good to come from this nightmare. And if that ring can help pay for Ashley's flight home, or Vanessa's hotel, or Sarah's. I don't know, revenge pottery class or whatever helps you heal, then at least it's doing something positive. Rebecca laughs, a real laugh, not the bitter ones you've been sharing. Revenge pottery class. That's actually not a bad idea. I'm serious though, Jennifer continues. We should stay in touch. We should check in on each other. Because I think we're going to need each other as we process this. Therapy helps, but therapists weren't there. They didn't see his face, didn't hear his voice, didn't experience the specific mindfuck that is Marcus Hayes. So you exchange real phone numbers, not just the group chat. You make plans to meet monthly, at least for a while. You create a support system out of shared trauma, and maybe that's not how you wanted to make new friends, but it's what you've got. Ashley flies home Thursday morning, hugging each of you at the airport with promises to stay connected. Vanessa leaves Friday, but not before helping Jennifer move some of Marcus's remaining belongings to a storage unit, refusing to let her do it alone. Do you think he'll really stop? Vanessa asks as you're loading boxes into her rental car. Or will he just move to another city and start over? I don't know, you admit. Diana scared him, I think. And knowing we're watching, that will expose him if he tries this again, that might be enough. Or it might not. Narcissists don't change just because they got caught. Then we stay vigilant, Vanessa says. We Google his name occasionally. We keep track. And if he pops up with a new victim, we warn her. It's not perfect justice. Marcus isn't going to jail. He's not facing legal consequences for the lives he's destroyed. But he's been exposed. His comfortable life has been dismantled. Jennifer, his anchor, is gone. His reputation, at least among the people who matter, is ruined. Diana has quietly reached out to his employer, David Chen, sharing enough information that Marcus's contract was terminated. He's lost his income, his home, his safety net. Maybe that's enough. Or maybe it's just the beginning. Saturday morning, you wake up and realize it's been 2 weeks since Rebecca approached you in this same coffee shop. 2 weeks since your world imploded. You look at your left hand. The tan line from the ring is completely gone now, just smooth, unmarked skin where a promise used to sit. You take Luna for a long walk along the river, past couples holding hands and families feeding ducks and runners with their earbuds in, everyone living their normal lives. The October air is crisp, leaves turning gold and red, the city settling into autumn. Life continues. The world didn't stop because your relationship ended. Because you discovered your fiancé was a con artist, because everything you believed turned out to be constructed from lies, and somehow, that's comforting. Life continues. You continue, your phone buzzes. A text from Rebecca, dinner next week? My treat. I think we should celebrate surviving Marcus Hayes. You smile and type back, absolutely. But I'm buying dessert. We deserve cake, Rebecca. We deserve all the cake. You pocket your phone and keep walking, Luna trotting happily beside you. And for the first time in 2 weeks, you feel something other than anger or betrayal or confusion. You feel possibility. The possibility that this isn't your ending, it's just a chapter. A terrible, painful chapter, but one you're closing. The possibility that you'll heal, that you'll trust again. That someday this will be a story you tell about that time you dodged a bullet, the possibility that Marcus Hayes tried to break you, but instead, he accidentally led you to 4 women who understand exactly what you've been through. Sisters born from shared trauma, allies in recovery, the possibility that you're going to be okay, not today, maybe. Not tomorrow. But someday, and that's enough. 3 weeks after the confrontation, you're sitting in your therapist's office trying to explain why you feel guilty. Dr. Sarah Chen, no relation to David Chen, you've checked, has been listening patiently for the past 20 minutes while you spiral through your complicated feelings about Marcus. I ruined his life, you say, knowing even as the words leave your mouth how ridiculous they sound. He lost his job, his apartment, his relationships. Jennifer told me he's been couch surfing with a friend from work. What if we went too far? Dr. Chen sets down her notepad. Sarah, let me ask you something. If a burglar breaks into 5 houses, gets caught, and faces consequences, did the homeowners ruin his life? Or did he ruin it himself through his choices? That's different. Marcus didn't steal anything from me. Not really. Didn't he? He stole your time. Your trust. Your sense of security. He stole your ability to look back on your relationship and know what was real. Those are valuable things. She leans forward. You're experiencing a common trauma response, misplaced guilt. You feel powerful because you exposed him, and that power feels uncomfortable, so you're reframing yourself as the aggressor. But Sarah, you didn't create this situation. You just refused to continue being victimized by it. The words settle over you like a weighted blanket. You didn't create this situation. You just refused to continue being victimized. I keep wondering if I missed signs early on, you admit. Like, was I willfully blind? Did I ignore red flags because I wanted the fairy tale? Probably some of both, Dr. Chen says honestly. Most people in relationships miss some red flags because we want to believe the best in people we care about. That's not a character flaw, that's being human. The question isn't why didn't I see it sooner? The question is, now that I know what manipulation looks like, how do I protect myself going forward? You spend the rest of the session talking about boundaries, about trusting your instincts, about the difference between healthy caution and paranoid hypervigilance. When you leave, you don't feel fixed. Therapy doesn't work like that. But you feel slightly more grounded. That evening, the group chat lights up with a message from Diana. FYI, just got word that Marcus moved to Sacramento. Confirmed through a mutual contact. Thought you should know, Rebecca. Sacramento? So he's just starting over somewhere new? Diana, looks like it. New city, clean slate. But I've set up alerts. If he starts using dating apps or social media in suspicious ways, I'll know. You. Should we warn people there? Post something online, Diana, legally risky without concrete proof of current wrongdoing. But I've quietly reached out to some PI contacts in the area. Word of mouth in certain circles can be effective. It's not satisfying, knowing Marcus is out there potentially starting the cycle again. But it's also not your responsibility to save every woman from him. You can't spend your life monitoring his movements, warning strangers, playing watchdog. At some point, you have to let go and focus on healing yourself. November arrives with Portland rain and shorter days. You throw yourself into work, leading a major campaign launch that gets written up in Adweek. Jenna throws you a "fuck that guy" party where your friends gather, drink wine, and share their own stories of terrible exes. It's cathartic in an unexpected way, hearing that everyone has been lied to, everyone has trusted the wrong person, everyone has a Marcus in their past, even if the details differ. Your mom calls one evening, her voice careful. Honey, I know you don't want to talk about the wedding cancellation, but people keep asking me what happened. What should I tell them? You've been dreading this conversation. Tell them we weren't compatible. Tell them I realized he wasn't the right person. You don't have to explain more than that. Did he hurt you? Because your father will. Mom, I'm handling it. Really? You soften your tone. I know you're worried, but I'm okay. It was the right decision to end things. After you hang up, you think about what you didn't tell her, the full truth about Marcus, about his lies, about the other women. Some stories are too complicated to share with people who weren't there, who don't understand the specific psychology of manipulation. Your mom would blame herself for not seeing through him, would obsess over warning signs she missed at that one dinner where she met Marcus. It's kinder to let her believe it was a simple incompatibility. Rebecca texts you privately one afternoon, found his LinkedIn. He's working as a financial consultant in Sacramento. Dating profile on Hinge, I made a fake account to check. Bio says he's new to the area, looking for genuine connection. It's starting again, your stomach twists. What do we do, Rebecca? I've been thinking about that. What if we created a website? Not naming him directly, but outlining the warning signs of romance fraud. A resource for people to check. Include our stories anonymously. Make it educational rather than a direct attack. That's actually brilliant. Harder for him to claim defamation if we're not specifically naming him, but anyone who Googles him might find it. Over the next 2 weeks, you, Rebecca, Vanessa, and Jennifer work together on the project. Vanessa has web design experience and volunteers to build the site. You write copy drawing on your marketing background. Rebecca coordinates the testimonials from Ashley and the 2 Denver victims who agreed to participate. Jennifer contributes resources about protecting your children from manipulative partners. The site launches in late November. RecognizeTheRing.org. The name is both literal, referring to Eleanor Hayes's ring, and metaphorical, about recognizing patterns of manipulation. It's professional, well-designed, filled with information about romance fraud, narcissistic behavior, and resources for victims. In the FAQ section, you include an anonymous case study that's clearly Marcus without naming him, a man in his mid-30s, working in finance, who proposes to multiple women with the same family heirloom. Who creates elaborate backstories that change depending on his audience. Who legally changed his name after fraud charges in another state. The website includes a warning sign checklist. Does your partner have inconsistent stories about their past? Do they avoid introducing you to long-term friends or family? Are they evasive about their living situation or workplace? Do they have explanations for everything that make you doubt your own perceptions? Do they isolate you from support systems while maintaining their own separate life? Within a week, the site gets 5,000 visitors. Within a month, it's been shared on Reddit, featured in a relationship advice column, and garnered attention from domestic abuse organizations. You start receiving emails from other victims of romance fraud, not Marcus's victims, but people who've experienced similar manipulation and want to share their stories. One email hits particularly hard. It's from a woman in Sacramento who says she matched with someone on Hinge who seemed too good to be true. She Googled his name, found a reference that led her to your website, and recognized the patterns. She asked more questions, noticed inconsistencies, and ended things before getting in too deep. You probably saved me months of heartbreak, she writes. Maybe years. Thank you for being brave enough to share your experience. You read the email to the group chat, and Jennifer responds with a simple heart emoji. Then, this is why we did it. This is the point, but the website brings complications too. Marcus's friend from work, the one he's couch surfing with, emails threatening legal action for defamation and harassment. Diana sends a carefully worded response explaining that the website never mentions Marcus by name, provides educational information that's protected speech, and that any legal action would require him to prove the case study isn't accurate, which would involve him admitting under oath to the behavior described. The threats stop, December arrives, and with it, the holidays you were supposed to be spending as an engaged woman making wedding plans. Instead, you're single, back on dating apps but moving cautiously, going on exactly 2 dates that both fizzle without drama. It's not exciting, but it's not traumatic either, and maybe that's progress. Christmas Eve, the Recycled Ring Club, as you've all started calling yourselves with dark humor, has a video call. Ashley from her parents' house in Chicago, Vanessa from her sister's place in San Diego, Rebecca from her apartment with her new kitten visible in the frame, Jennifer from her living room with Mia asleep on the couch beside her, and you from your apartment with Luna's head in your lap. To surviving Marcus Hayes, Rebecca says, raising a glass of wine. To becoming stronger because of it, Vanessa adds. To Eleanor Hayes, Jennifer says. May her ring rest in peace, divided among women who actually appreciate its value. To us, Ashley finishes. For refusing to stay victims. You clink your glass against the screen, and for a moment, you're overwhelmed by the strange beauty of this. 5 women from different backgrounds, different cities, different stages of life, connected by one man's cruelty but choosing to turn that connection into something meaningful. After you hang up, you sit in the quiet of your apartment, lights from your small Christmas tree casting colored shadows across the walls. Luna is snoring softly. Your phone shows messages from friends, from your mom, from Jenna asking about brunch tomorrow. You think about where you were a year ago, planning a future with Marcus, believing in fairy tales, naive about the depths of human deception. And you think about where you are now, single but not broken, cautious but not cynical, hurt but healing. Your phone buzzes one more time. An email notification from the website. Another person sharing their story, another victim finding solidarity, another person who now has the language to describe what happened to them. You forward it to the group chat with just one word. Another. Rebecca responds immediately. That's 47 this month, Vanessa. 47 people who now know they're not crazy. That's not nothing, Jennifer. That's everything. You close your laptop, turn off the Christmas tree lights, and head to bed. Tomorrow is Christmas, and you'll spend it with your family, answering gentle questions about your love life and deflecting comments about how you're still young. You'll find someone. But tonight, you're just grateful. Grateful for Rebecca's courage to approach you in that coffee shop. Grateful for Vanessa's willingness to fly to Portland. Grateful for Ashley's vulnerability. Grateful for Jennifer's strength. Grateful for Diana's expertise. Grateful that Marcus Hayes tried to break you and failed, and grateful that from the wreckage of broken promises and recycled rings, you found something real. A community of survivors who refused to let him win. January brings the kind of cold, gray Portland days that make you want to hibernate. But you're not hiding anymore. You're back at work full-time, crushing campaign metrics, getting promoted to marketing director, a title that comes with a significant raise and the kind of respect you've earned over years of hard work, not through manipulation or lies. The website continues to grow. By mid-January, RecognizeThering.org has received over 50,000 visitors and been cited in 3 academic papers about romance fraud. A journalist from a national magazine reaches out, wanting to do a story about romance scams and asking if any of you would be willing to be interviewed. The group chat debates it for days. Rebecca, I'm not sure I want my face attached to this publicly. What if it affects my career? Vanessa, same concern. My company does background checks for promotions. Will, was conned by a fraud artist, show up? Jennifer, I have to think about Mia. She's already been through so much. Do I want this documented forever on the internet? Ashley, but if we don't speak up, we're letting shame win. We're acting like we did something wrong. You, what if we do it anonymously? Faces blurred, voices altered, names changed. Tell the story without making ourselves vulnerable to harassment or judgment. Diana weighs in, smart. You control the narrative without sacrificing your privacy. And it amplifies the message. This could happen to anyone. These are educated, successful, careful women, and they were still targeted. You agree to the interview on the condition of anonymity. The journalist, a woman named Patricia who's covered financial crimes for 2 decades, comes to Portland and spends a day with you, Rebecca, and Jennifer. Vanessa and Ashley participate via video call. Patricia is professional and compassionate, asking difficult questions without being exploitative. What would you want other potential victims to know? She asks near the end of the interview. Rebecca speaks first. That it's not your fault. These people are professionals. They study you, adapt to you, become whatever you need them to be. You didn't fail some test by falling for it. Trust your instincts, Jennifer adds. If something feels off, it probably is. I ignored so many red flags because I wanted to believe. Don't make my mistake. Document everything, Vanessa says. Screenshots, save emails, keep a journal. If things go wrong, you'll need that evidence. I wish I'd started documenting from the beginning. And find your people, Ashley contributes. I spent years thinking I was alone, thinking I was crazy. Finding these women, realizing I wasn't the only one, that changed everything. You think about what you want to say, what wisdom you've gained from this nightmare. Don't let someone else's deception make you bitter. Marcus wanted to break me, wanted to make me unable to trust or love again. But I refused to give him that power. Being cautious is smart. Being closed off is letting him win. Patricia nods, scribbling notes. And what about Marcus? If he's watching this interview, and he probably will be, what would you want him to know? The question catches you off guard. You haven't thought about speaking directly to Marcus, about what you'd say if given the chance. I'd want him to know that he failed, you finally say. He wanted to control us, to keep us isolated and ashamed. Instead, he created a community. He wanted to be our biggest mistake, but he ended up being our greatest teacher, about boundaries, about self-worth, about the importance of trusting yourself even when someone's actively working to make you doubt your reality. I'd want him to know I forgive him, Jennifer says quietly, and everyone turns to look at her in surprise. Not because he deserves forgiveness, but because holding on to hate was poisoning me. Forgiveness isn't for him, it's for me. It's me deciding he doesn't get to rent space in my head anymore. Rebecca shakes her head. I'm not there yet. Maybe someday. But right now, I want him to know that we won. He's in Sacramento starting over, probably running the same cons. But we're here, stronger and more connected than ever. We survived him. And we'll keep warning people about him for as long as it takes. The article publishes in March, a lengthy investigative piece titled, The Recycled Ring: How One Man's Romance Fraud Created an Unlikely Community. It doesn't name Marcus, but the details are specific enough that anyone who knows him would recognize the story. The journalist includes information about the Denver fraud case, the name change, the pattern of behavior across multiple cities. Within hours of publication, it's trending on social media. Reddit threads dissect every detail. TikTok therapists make videos analyzing the manipulation tactics. Your website crashes from traffic, and Vanessa has to upgrade the server capacity, and then the unexpected happens, more women come forward. Not to you directly, but to Patricia, who passes along their information. A woman from Sacramento who dated Marcus briefly before getting suspicious. A woman from his Denver days who didn't participate in the original fraud case because she was too ashamed. A woman from Eugene, his supposed hometown, who knew him in college and says half of what he told you about his past is fabricated. By April, Patricia has documented 16 women who've been involved with Marcus Hayes/Holden over the past decade. 16 lives disrupted. 16 hearts broken. Some lost money. Some lost time. All lost their sense of trust. Diana helps Patricia verify and document everything. And slowly, a more complete picture emerges. Marcus's real name is Marcus James Holden. He grew up in Reno, Nevada, not Eugene. His parents are alive but estranged. They haven't spoken to him in years after he stole money from his mother's retirement account. He has a brother who refuses to have contact with him. His grandmother was named Eleanor, and she did have a ring, but Marcus stole it from his mother's jewelry box and has been using it for his cons ever since. So even the one true thing, the grandmother's ring, was stolen, Rebecca says when Diana shares this information. There's literally nothing authentic about him. The Eugene woman, her name is Melissa, reaches out directly to you through the website. She wants to talk, she says. She has information that might help. You meet her at a coffee shop in Eugene, making the 90-minute drive on a Saturday morning. Melissa is older than you, maybe 45, with laugh lines and kind eyes. She orders tea and sits across from you with the careful posture of someone about to unburden herself of a long-held secret. I dated Marcus in 2015, she begins. Before the Denver thing, before he legally changed his name. He called himself Mark back then, thought it sounded more sophisticated. I was recently divorced, vulnerable, and he seemed perfect. Attentive, romantic, interested in my daughter from my first marriage. Your chest tightens. Another single mom. Another child manipulated. We dated for 8 months. He proposed with that ring, told me it was his grandmother's, said she was a seamstress in Boston. Said he wanted me to have it because I reminded him of her strength. Melissa's smile is sad. I believed every word. We started planning a wedding. And then one day, he just vanished. Took the ring, blocked my number, disappeared completely. My daughter was devastated. She'd started calling him Dad. I'm so sorry, you say, and mean it. The thing is, I did something I probably shouldn't have. Melissa pulls out her phone. I was so desperate for answers that I hired someone to track him down. Found out he'd moved to Denver, found out about the women there. And I kept tabs on him. Over the years, I've watched him move from city to city, relationship to relationship. I know it's borderline stalking, but I justified it by telling myself I was protecting future victims. She opens a folder on her phone and shows you years of screenshots, social media posts, dating profiles, photos of Marcus with different women in different cities. It's comprehensive and slightly disturbing in its thoroughness. Why are you showing me this, you ask? Because I want to help. Patricia's article got me thinking, what if we could create a more permanent warning system? Not just a website, but an actual database where victims of romance fraud could report their experiences. Where you could search someone's name and see if they have a history. Make it harder for people like Marcus to move from city to city with clean slates. It's ambitious. Maybe impossible. But Melissa has clearly been thinking about this for years. The problem is legal liability, you say. How do you verify accusations without opening yourself up to defamation suits? You require evidence, screenshots, police reports, court documents. You make it clear that it's user-reported information, not verified facts. You include disclaimers. But you create a resource that at least gives people a starting point for their own research. Melissa's eyes are intense. Look, maybe it's not feasible. Maybe I'm crazy for even suggesting it. But I've spent 8 years watching Marcus hurt people while I did nothing because I didn't know how to stop him. Patricia's article made me realize, maybe we can actually do something meaningful here. You promised to bring it up with the others, to consult Diana about the legal implications. As you're leaving, Melissa grabs your arm. Thank you, she says. For speaking up. For creating the website. For making it so the rest of us don't feel alone. I spent years thinking I was the only one, thinking I was too stupid to see through him. Reading your story, all your stories, it finally made me stop blaming myself. Driving back to Portland, you think about Melissa, about the 8 years she spent quietly monitoring Marcus, trying in her own way to protect others. You think about the 16 documented women and wonder how many more there are who never came forward, who are still blaming themselves, still wondering what they did wrong. The database idea is intriguing but complicated. Over the next few weeks, you, Rebecca, Vanessa, Jennifer, Diana, and now Melissa, who's become an unofficial member of your group, research the feasibility. You consult lawyers, tech experts, advocacy organizations. The consensus is that it could work, but it would require significant resources, careful legal structure, and constant moderation. It's a massive undertaking, possibly a multi-year project. Is this what we want? Jennifer asks during a video call in late April. To spend years of our lives building something because of Marcus? To let him dictate our focus and energy? It's not about him anymore, Ashley says. It's about the next victim. And the one after that. It's about creating something useful from something terrible. We don't all have to be involved, Rebecca points out. If some of us want to move on, really move on and close this chapter, that's valid. Healing doesn't require activism. It's a fair point. You think about what you want. Part of you craves closure, wants to forget Marcus Hayes ever existed, wants to date and live and focus on your own life without this hanging over you. But another part, maybe the stronger part, knows that you stumbled into something important here. That your pain connected you to others in pain, and together you're building something that might prevent future suffering. I'm in, you say. Not full-time, I'm not quitting my job or anything. But I'll contribute what I can. Design work, writing, whatever's needed. One by one, the others agree. Not out of revenge anymore, but out of purpose. By May, you've formed a non-profit, the Eleanor Hayes Foundation, named after the woman whose ring inadvertently connected all of you. Your mission, providing resources and support for victims of romance fraud, and working towards systemic changes that make it harder for con artists to operate. The database project becomes a long-term goal. In the meantime, you expand the website, create support groups, partner with domestic violence organizations to provide educational workshops, and Marcus? He's still in Sacramento as far as you know. Still running cons, probably. Still hurting people, but now, when someone Googles his name, they find articles. They find warnings. They find your website. Now, when he tries to tell his stories about his tragic childhood or his devoted grandmother, women might pause and think, does this sound too rehearsed? Are there inconsistencies? Now, the next victim has a fighting chance, and that, you're learning, might be the closest thing to justice you'll ever get. Summer arrives with the kind of warmth that makes Portland inhabitants forget the 9 months of rain and declare it the best city on earth. You're sitting on your apartment balcony in July, Luna sprawled at your feet, reviewing applications for the Foundation's first support group facilitators when your phone rings. It's Patricia, the journalist. I wanted to give you a heads up before this goes public, she says without preamble. Marcus Hayes was arrested yesterday in Sacramento. Multiple counts of wire fraud and identity theft. Your coffee mug freezes halfway to your mouth. What? Apparently, he tried the investment scam again. Convinced a woman named Teresa Oakes to give him $75,000 for a cryptocurrency opportunity. But Teresa's brother is a forensic accountant. He got suspicious, did some digging, found my article, and contacted the FBI. They'd been building a case for 3 months. You're already texting the group chat with shaking hands. Marcus arrested. FBI. Wire fraud. Call Patricia for details. Is it going to stick this time, you ask? Or will he wriggle out like he did in Denver? The FBI doesn't arrest unless they're confident. They've got digital evidence, emails, texts, financial records. And Teresa is cooperating fully. She's not embarrassed or ashamed. She's angry, and she wants justice. Patricia pauses. The prosecutor wants to talk to you. To all of you. They're building a pattern of behavior case, and your testimonies could be crucial. Your responses flood in, Rebecca, holy shit. Is this real, Jennifer? Does this mean he might actually go to prison? Vanessa, I'll testify. I'll get on a plane tomorrow if they need me. Ashley, finally. Someone is actually holding him accountable. Over the next 2 weeks, you work with federal prosecutors. You provide Diana's comprehensive report. You share years of documentation, texts, emails, photos, financial records. You sit for a formal deposition that lasts 6 hours, recounting every detail of your relationship with Marcus, every lie you can remember, every manipulation tactic he employed. The prosecutor, a sharp woman named Michelle Torres, is methodical and patient. I want you to understand something, she tells you after the deposition. Even if we convict him on the Teresa Oakes case, we likely can't charge him for what he did to you. The statute of limitations has passed on the financial crimes, and the non-financial manipulation, while morally reprehensible, isn't technically illegal. So he gets away with it? Your voice cracks. After everything? No. He doesn't get away with it. Because your testimony establishes a pattern. It shows Teresa wasn't an isolated incident. This is who he is, what he does. It makes it much harder for him to claim this was a misunderstanding or a business deal gone wrong. Michelle's expression softens. I know it's not the justice you probably want. But it's something. The preliminary hearing happens in August. You, Rebecca, and Jennifer attend, sitting in the back of the Sacramento courtroom watching Marcus, wearing an ill-fitting suit, looking smaller and older than you remember, be led in by a bailiff. He doesn't look at you. Or maybe he doesn't see you in the crowd of observers. Teresa Oakes is on the stand, composed and clear-eyed as she describes how Marcus, going by Mark Sullivan, with her, another variation, presented himself as an investment advisor with insider knowledge about emerging cryptocurrency markets. How he showed her impressive-looking charts and statistics. How he emphasized the time-sensitive nature of the opportunity, pushing her to act quickly before she could think too carefully. Did you have doubts? The prosecutor asks. Of course, Teresa says. But he was so confident, so knowledgeable. And when I asked questions, he always had answers. Good answers. I'm not stupid, I have a master's degree in business. But he was better at lying than I was at detecting lies. The defense attorney, a tired-looking public defender who clearly knows his client is guilty, tries to poke holes. Suggests Teresa should have been more cautious, implies she was greedy and careless. Teresa doesn't flinch. I was trusting. That's not a crime. Fraud is a crime. I didn't do anything wrong. He did. When the hearing concludes, the judge rules there's sufficient evidence for trial. Bail is set at $250,000, an amount Marcus can't possibly pay. He's remanded into custody. As you're leaving the courthouse, Teresa approaches you. She's younger than you expected, maybe 28, with dark hair and a professional bun and eyes that have seen too much too quickly. You're Sarah, aren't you? From the article? When you nod, she continues, my brother found your website before we went to the FBI. Reading your story, all your stories, it made me realize I wasn't being paranoid or overly suspicious. It gave me the language to describe what was happening to me. I'm glad it helped, you say. And I'm sorry you had to go through this. Don't be sorry. Be proud. Your website probably saved me from losing even more money. And it's going to help put him away. Teresa glances back at the courthouse. My therapist says I should be angrier. But mostly I just feel relieved. He's in a cell, and I'm free. That feels like enough. The trial is scheduled for October. In the meantime, life continues its strange forward momentum. The foundation officially launches with a website, a board of directors, and funding from several domestic violence prevention grants. You hire 2 part-time staff members, both survivors of romance fraud who want to turn their experiences into advocacy work. The support groups you've created meet weekly. You attend one session, listening as a dozen women and 3 men share stories that echo your own. Different details, different cities, but the same underlying pain, the betrayal of discovering that someone you loved never existed, that the relationship you treasured was performance art. A man in his 60s talks about losing his retirement savings to a woman who claimed to need money for her dying mother's medical bills. A woman in her 30s describes a partner who faked a terminal illness to manipulate her emotionally and financially. A woman in her 40s explains how her ex-husband maintained a second family in another state for 7 years. When it's your turn to share, the facilitator gently encourages everyone to participate. You tell an abbreviated version of your story. You don't mention the trial or the arrest. You just talk about the ring, about discovering Rebecca in that coffee shop, about the slow, painful process of accepting that Marcus was never who he claimed to be. How did you stop blaming yourself? Someone asks. I'm not sure I have, completely, you admit. But I've learned that being vulnerable isn't the same as being stupid. Trusting someone isn't a character flaw. Marcus studied people, he practiced his lies, he got better at deception with each victim. I didn't fail some test. He's just really good at what he does. Does it get easier? Another person asks. Trusting again? You think about the handful of dates you've been on over the past few months. How you Google searched every person before meeting them. How you asked pointed questions and watched for inconsistencies. How you've been honest about your past, about why you're cautious, about what you need from a potential partner. It gets different, you finally say. I don't think I'll ever trust the way I did before Marcus. But maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe healthy trust is built slowly, verified constantly, earned through consistency rather than given freely based on charm. After the meeting, several people thank you for starting the foundation, for speaking publicly about romance fraud. One woman, probably in her 70s, grips your hand tightly and says, "You're doing good work. My daughter was scammed 5 years ago. She never recovered emotionally. Took her own life. If something like your foundation had existed then, maybe she would have had hope. Maybe she would still be here." You drive home crying, Luna whimpering in concern from the passenger seat, gutted by the reminder that these aren't just abstract stories about fraud and manipulation. These are lives destroyed, futures stolen, families shattered. October brings the trial. You take a week off work, drive to Sacramento, and sit through 3 days of testimony. The prosecution presents overwhelming evidence, emails where Marcus discussed his investment strategy with Teresa, financial records showing her money going into accounts he controlled, expert witnesses who testify about cryptocurrency scams. Marcus takes the stand in his own defense, which the defense attorney clearly advised against based on his pained expression. Marcus insists this was a legitimate business opportunity that happened to fail. That he fully intended to invest Teresa's money and split the profits. That he's a victim too, of market volatility and bad timing. The prosecution destroys him on cross-examination. They pull up the Denver case, the name change, the pattern of behavior documented in Patricia's article. They ask about you, about Rebecca, about the other women. How many times have you proposed marriage in the past 10 years? Michelle Torres asks. Marcus hesitates. I don't keep count. More than 5? Possibly. More than 10? Silence. Mr. Hayes, or should I say Mr. Holden, you proposed to at least 12 different women with the same ring over the past decade, using different names and different stories. Correct? That's not relevant to answer the question. Yes. His voice is barely a whisper. And you took money from at least 6 of these women for various opportunities that never materialized. Correct? That's not how I'd characterize. Yes or no, Mr. Holden? A long pause. Then, quietly, yes. The jury deliberates for 4 hours. When they return, the verdict is unanimous. Guilty on all counts. Sentencing is scheduled for 6 weeks later. You don't attend, you've given enough of your time to Marcus Hayes. But Rebecca goes, and she FaceTimes you from outside the courthouse afterward. 8 years, she says, her voice thick with emotion. With possibility of parole after 5. Judge called him a danger to vulnerable individuals and recommended he undergo psychological evaluation and treatment during his incarceration. 8 years. It's not life. It's not the decades you might have wished for in your angriest moments. But it's something. It's accountability. It's consequences. It's Marcus unable to hurt anyone else for nearly a decade. How do you feel? You ask Rebecca. She considers the question. Lighter? Like I've been carrying something heavy and finally got to set it down. Not happy, exactly. I'm not going to celebrate someone going to prison. But, relieved. Validated. Like the universe finally acknowledged that what he did was wrong. That night, the Recycled Ring Club has a video call. There's no champagne toast this time, no dramatic declarations. Just 6 women, you, Rebecca, Vanessa, Jennifer, Ashley, and now Teresa, who's been invited to join, sitting in the quiet satisfaction of closure. I keep thinking about all the women he hurt that we'll never know about, Jennifer says. The ones who never came forward, who are still blaming themselves. Which is why we keep doing the work, Vanessa responds. The foundation, the support groups, the education. We can't change the past, but we can influence the future. Do you think he'll actually change? Ashley asks. In prison, I mean. Do you think he'll get help and come out different? It's a question you've been avoiding. Because the truth is, you don't know. Narcissistic personality disorder and antisocial traits are notoriously difficult to treat, especially in someone who doesn't believe they have a problem. Marcus might serve his time, participate in mandated therapy, and emerge just as manipulative as before, only more careful about covering his tracks. Or he might, in the forced stillness of incarceration, actually confront who he is and what he's done. Stranger things have happened. I don't know if he'll change, you say. But I know we already have. And that's what matters. The conversation drifts to other topics. Jennifer's daughter starting 3rd grade, Vanessa's promotion at work, Rebecca's new relationship with a woman who knows her full history and stays anyway. Normal life stuff, the kind of mundane updates that feel miraculous after months of trauma and legal battles. When you finally hang up, it's nearly midnight. Luna needs her final walk of the night, so you leash her and head out into the cool October air. The neighborhood is quiet, streetlights casting pools of amber on empty sidewalks. You think about the version of yourself that existed a year ago, engaged, planning a wedding, believing in fairy tales. That Sarah feels like a stranger now. She was more naive, more trusting, more willing to overlook inconsistencies in favor of maintaining the illusion of happiness, but she was also braver than she knew. Because when the truth revealed itself, she didn't run from it. She investigated. She connected with other victims. She built something meaningful from the rubble of broken promises. You wouldn't go back to being that Sarah, even if you could. Even if it meant avoiding all this pain, because the woman you are now is stronger. Wiser. More compassionate. More determined to help others avoid the pitfalls she fell into. Luna tugs on the leash, eager to investigate an interesting smell. You follow her lead, and together you walk through the quiet Portland night, heading home. 6 months after Marcus's sentencing, you're sitting in your newly expanded office. The promotion came with actual walls and a door that closes, when Jenna barges in with champagne and 2 plastic cups. We're celebrating, she announces, popping the cork with more enthusiasm than skill. Foam spills onto your desk, narrowly missing your laptop. What are we celebrating? And since when do we drink at 11 a.m. on a Tuesday? Your TED Talk got accepted. She pours champagne into the cups, hands you one. I saw the email because you left your personal account open on my iPad last week. You're giving a TED Talk, Sarah. An actual TED Talk about romance fraud and recovery. You'd almost forgotten about the application. You submitted it in a moment of confidence 3 months ago, then promptly convinced yourself they'd never choose you. But apparently they did. The email outlines the details. TED Women, scheduled for April in Palm Springs, 12 minutes to tell your story and share what you've learned. I don't know if I can do this, you say, even as excitement builds in your chest. Speaking to hundreds of people, having it recorded and posted online permanently? You absolutely can. You've been doing this work for a year now. You run support groups. You give workshops. This is just a bigger audience. Jenna clinks her cup against yours. And think about how many people you'll reach. How many potential victims might see it and recognize the warning signs? How many survivors might see it and realize they're not alone? She's right, of course. This is exactly the kind of platform the Foundation needs. But the thought of standing on that red circle, under those lights, sharing your most painful experience with the world, it's terrifying. What if Marcus sees it? You ask quietly. Jenna sets down her cup. Then he sees it. He's in prison, Sarah. He can't hurt you anymore. And even if he could see it, so what? Let him know that he didn't break you. Let him know you took the worst thing he did and turned it into something that helps people. You spend the next 3 months preparing. You work with a speaking coach, rehearse until you can deliver your talk in your sleep, refine and revise until every word feels essential. The Recycled Ring Club gives feedback, helping you decide what to include and what to leave out. Diana helps you verify facts and statistics. Patricia connects you with other experts in the field who offer research and insights. The Foundation has grown beyond anything you imagined. You now have 5 paid staff members, 12 active support groups across 6 states, and partnerships with 23 organizations working in domestic violence prevention and victim advocacy. The website gets 15,000 visitors monthly. You've helped draft legislation in Oregon that requires stricter identity verification on dating apps and financial platforms. Your personal life has evolved too. You're dating someone, Nathan, a high school teacher you met through a mutual friend who insisted on setting you up despite your protests. He knows your history. You were transparent from the first date, explaining why you'd need to move slowly, why you'd ask lots of questions, why trust would be earned gradually rather than given freely. Nathan didn't run. Instead, he said, "That sounds healthy. I'm happy to earn it." 3 months in, the relationship is good. Not fireworks and fairy tales, but steady and real. He introduces you to his friends and family early. His stories stay consistent. His actions match his words. When he says he'll call, he calls. When he makes plans, he keeps them. Is it weird that it feels almost boring? You ask Jenna over lunch one afternoon. Like, there's no drama, no mystery, no rush of uncertainty. Just consistency. Boring is good, Jenna says firmly. Boring means stable. Boring means you're not being manipulated. You've just been conditioned to think love should feel chaotic because Marcus was chaotic. She's right. You're unlearning the idea that love should be a roller coaster, that doubt and anxiety are somehow romantic. Nathan is teaching you that real love is quiet and sure. It's someone who shows up when they say they will, who apologizes when they're wrong, who wants to know the real you rather than the version they've constructed in their imagination. April arrives, and you're on a plane to Palm Springs with Jenna, Rebecca, and Nathan, your support crew. The TED venue is beautiful and intimidating, all soaring ceilings and perfect acoustics designed to amplify every word, every breath, every moment of hesitation. Backstage, you're 4th in the lineup. You watch the first 3 speakers on a monitor: a climate scientist, a refugee rights activist, a neuroscientist studying memory. They're all brilliant, accomplished, articulate. You feel completely out of your depth. You belong here, Rebecca says, reading your anxiety. Your story matters just as much as theirs. Then it's your turn. The stage manager counts down, 3, 2, 1, and you walk out onto that red circle. The lights are blinding. You can't see the audience, which is somehow both terrifying and comforting. You take a breath and begin. 18 months ago, I was engaged to a man who didn't exist. His name was Marcus Hayes, and he proposed to me with his grandmother's ring, or so he said. The ring was real. The grandmother was real. But the story he told me about it was fiction. In fact, almost everything about Marcus Hayes was fiction. Your voice is steadier than you expected. You tell the story efficiently, hitting the key points without drowning in details. The coffee shop confrontation. The discovery of multiple victims. The recycled ring passed between women like a cursed talisman. The pattern of manipulation spanning years and cities, but you don't dwell on Marcus. Instead, you pivot to what came after. Romance fraud is a $500 million per year industry in the United States alone. But it's not really about the money, it's about power. It's about people who get satisfaction from manipulating others, from playing God with someone else's emotions and future. And the victims, we lose more than money or time. We lose our ability to trust ourselves. We start questioning every relationship, every interaction, wondering if we'll ever be able to see people clearly again. You pause, making eye contact with the camera you've been told to focus on. Here's what I want you to know. If you've been conned, manipulated, gaslit, it's not because you're stupid or weak or naive. It's because someone with practice, skill, and complete disregard for your well-being targeted you. You didn't fail a test. You encountered a predator who's very good at what they do. You talk about the warning signs, about the importance of trusting your instincts, about the difference between healthy vulnerability and reckless trust. You talk about the foundation, about the community of survivors who've turned their pain into purpose. The man who tried to break me inadvertently connected me to some of the strongest, most resilient people I've ever met. Women who refused to be victims. Women who transformed their trauma into advocacy. We call ourselves the Recycled Ring Club, a joke that's become a badge of honor. You're nearing the end now, approaching the final message you've rehearsed 100 times. If you take nothing else from this talk, remember this: your capacity to love and trust isn't a weakness. It's your greatest strength. Don't let someone else's cruelty close you off from connection. Be cautious, yes. Be smart. But don't let a predator steal your humanity. Because when you refuse to become bitter, when you choose to heal and help others heal, you win. They wanted to break you, and instead, you became stronger. You finish with the line you've saved, the one that feels most true. Marcus Hayes tried to make me his victim. But he actually made me an advocate. And I'll take that trade any day. The applause is thunderous. You can see shapes in the audience now as your eyes adjust, people standing, clapping. You walk off stage on shaky legs, and Rebecca is there to catch you, pulling you into a fierce hug. You did it, she whispers. You told our story, and you did it perfectly. The talk goes viral within days of being posted online. Not in a bad way, in a meaningful way. News outlets pick it up. Survivors share it on social media with captions like, "This is my story too," and "Finally someone is talking about this." Your website traffic triples. The foundation gets inquiries from organizations in 12 countries wanting to replicate your model. You do follow-up interviews, podcasts, radio shows. You become, somewhat accidentally, the public face of romance fraud awareness. It's exhausting and exhilarating and occasionally overwhelming, but the best moments are the private ones. The emails from survivors thanking you for giving them language to describe their experience. The woman who recognizes warning signs in her current relationship and gets out before it escalates. The man who finally reports the person who scammed him because your talk made him realize he wasn't alone. One email in particular stays with you. It's from a woman named Caroline who writes, "My daughter was engaged to Marcus Hayes in 2016. I never trusted him, but she was so happy I didn't say anything. When he disappeared, she was devastated. She spent years blaming herself, withdrew from friends and family, struggled with depression. She died by suicide in 2020. When I saw your TED Talk, I finally understood what happened to her. I finally could grieve her properly, knowing it wasn't her fault. Thank you for that gift. You read the email to the Recycled Ring Club during your monthly video call, voice breaking. Jennifer is crying openly. Ashley has her hand over her mouth. Vanessa is nodding slowly, her expression grim but understanding. That could have been any of us, Rebecca says quietly. If we hadn't found each other, if we hadn't gotten support, if we'd stayed isolated in our shame, that could have been us. Which is why we keep doing this work, Teresa adds. She's become more involved with the foundation, speaking at events and helping with fundraising. Every person we reach, every story we share, every resource we provide, it's one more person who doesn't have to suffer alone like Caroline's daughter did. Summer arrives again, marking nearly 2 full years since Rebecca approached you in that coffee shop. The foundation is planning its first national conference, a 3-day event bringing together survivors, advocates, law enforcement, and mental health professionals to address romance fraud comprehensively. You're finalizing the agenda when your phone rings. Unknown number, Sacramento area code. You almost don't answer, but something makes you pick up. Sarah Mitchell? The voice is official, professional. Yes? This is Officer Andrea Chen from California State Prison, Sacramento. I'm calling because an inmate has requested to add you to his approved contact list. Marcus James Holden. He'd like permission to write to you. Your heart stops. Marcus. Wanting to contact you. After nearly 2 years of silence. What happens if I say no, you ask? Nothing. He can't contact you without your explicit permission. His request will be denied, and that will be the end of it. And if I say yes? You'll receive letters from him if he chooses to write. You can respond or not respond as you see fit. You can revoke permission at any time. You should say no. Obviously, you should say no. There's no good reason to let Marcus back into your life, even through letters. He's your past. You're building a future, but part of you, the part that spent months asking, why, is curious about what he wants to say. Can I think about it? You ask. Of course. You have 30 days to respond. After that, the request expires. You spend those 30 days debating. You discuss it with Nathan, who says he'll support whatever decision you make but gently suggests that reopening communication might be picking at a wound that's finally healing. You bring it up in therapy, where Dr. Chen asks what you hope to gain from reading Marcus's letters. I don't know, you admit. Closure. Understanding. An apology. And what if he can't give you those things? What if his letters are manipulative, or defensive, or completely unrepentant? Then at least I'll know for sure who he is. No more wondering if there was something real buried under the lies. On day 28, you make your decision. You call the prison and give permission for Marcus to write to you. The first letter arrives 2 weeks later. The envelope sits on your kitchen counter for 3 days before you open it. Standard prison stationery, Marcus's name and inmate number printed in the return address corner. You walk past it multiple times, making coffee, feeding Luna, checking your mail, and each time you feel it pulling at you like gravity. Finally, on a Saturday morning with Nathan at a teacher training conference and nothing urgent demanding your attention, you make tea, settle onto your couch with Luna's reassuring weight against your legs, and open the envelope. The handwriting is Marcus's. You recognize it from old birthday cards and grocery lists from a lifetime ago when you shared mundane domesticity. The letter is 4 pages, single-spaced, written with the careful penmanship of someone who's had a lot of time to practice. Dear Sarah, I don't expect you to read this. I don't expect forgiveness or understanding or anything from you. But my therapist here, yes, I'm in therapy, court mandated, but I actually go, says I need to take accountability to the people I've harmed. Not for my benefit, but for theirs. So this is me trying to do that, however inadequately, that I've spent the past year and a half in a cell thinking about the lives I destroyed. Not just yours, all of you. Rebecca, Vanessa, Ashley, Jennifer, Teresa. The women from Denver. The ones before Portland. The ones whose names I've honestly forgotten, which is its own kind of cruelty. I tallied them once, sitting on my bunk at 2 a.m. when I couldn't sleep. 23 women over 12 years that I can remember. 23 lives I disrupted for no good reason except that I could. My therapist asks me why I did it. I've tried to explain about the rush, the power, the validation. How it felt to be whoever someone needed me to be. How easy it was to slip into these roles, to craft the perfect backstory, to become someone's dream person. But even as I explain it, I hear how hollow it sounds. How pathetic, the truth, and I'm trying to be honest now, though I understand why you doubt that, is that I don't fully understand it myself. My therapist thinks I have narcissistic personality disorder, maybe antisocial traits. There's trauma in my background, an abusive father, a mother who couldn't protect us, a childhood spent learning that survival meant becoming whatever kept you safe in the moment. But plenty of people have trauma and don't become me. So I can't hide behind that I saw your TED Talk. One of the guards showed it to me. She thought I should see what you'd done with your pain. You were right about everything. I did try to break you. I did manipulate and gaslight and destroy. And you did win. You took what I meant to be your worst experience and transformed it into something that helps people. I don't have words for what that is. Remarkable doesn't cover it. That I'm not writing to ask for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I'm writing because you deserve to know that I understand, now, what I did. That it was real harm. That it wasn't just dating gone wrong or relationships that didn't work out. It was cruelty. Calculated, repeated cruelty. And I'm sorry, those words probably mean nothing to you. They're too small for the damage I caused. But they're all I have. I have 6.5 more years here, probably. The parole board will decide eventually if I've changed enough to re-enter society. I don't know if I have. I'm trying. I do the therapy. I participate in the rehabilitation programs. I'm learning to sit with discomfort instead of lying my way out of it. But I'm also realistic enough to know that personality disorders don't just disappear because you want them to. What I can tell you is this: I think about you, all of you, every day. Not in an obsessive way, but in an accountability way. When I'm tempted to manipulate another inmate or lie to a counselor to make myself look better, I think about your faces in that Sacramento office. How Rebecca looked at me with disgust. How Jennifer's trust shattered in real time. How you sat there, so composed, and told me I'd made you an advocate instead of a victim. That last part haunts me. You won, Sarah. You and Rebecca and all of them. You turned what I meant to destroy you with into your superpower. And me? I'm sitting in a cell, finally understanding that being good at manipulation isn't actually a talent, it's a sickness. One I'm trying, maybe too late, to heal. That I don't expect you to write back. This letter isn't about starting a dialogue. It's just about saying what I should have said 2 years ago. I was wrong. You deserved better. They all deserved better. And I'm genuinely sorry for every moment of pain I caused. Take care of Luna for me. She was always a good dog. Better than I deserved. Marcus, you read the letter 3 times, searching for the manipulation, the hidden agenda, the twist. But it seems genuine. Or as genuine as Marcus is capable of being. He's not asking for anything. Not trying to rebuild bridges or explain away his actions. Just apologizing and taking responsibility that it's disconcerting. You photograph the letter and send it to the group chat with a simple message. He wrote. Thoughts? The responses come quickly. Rebecca, sounds sincere. Which makes me immediately suspicious. But maybe prison actually did change him. Jennifer, my therapist warned me about this. Abusers often apologize beautifully once they lose access to their victims. It's control by another means, Vanessa. Or maybe people can actually change. I don't know. I'm conflicted, Ashley. I hope it's real. I hope he actually understands what he did. But I don't think we'll ever know for sure, Teresa. The fact that he's not asking for anything is notable. Usually these letters have some kind of request buried in them. This one genuinely seems to just be an apology. You discuss it with Dr. Chen in your next therapy session. She reads the letter carefully, then sets it aside. What do you want it to be? She asks. Real or fake? I don't know. Both? Neither? You sink deeper into the leather chair. Part of me wants to believe people can change. That Marcus spent nearly 2 years in prison genuinely reflecting and growing. But another part thinks I'm being naive again, that he's just gotten better at seeming sincere. Both can be true, Dr. Chen says. He might genuinely feel remorse while still being fundamentally unable to form healthy relationships. He might understand intellectually what he did wrong while lacking the emotional capacity to truly change. Remorse isn't the same as rehabilitation. So what do I do with this? You gesture to the letter. What do you want to do? You think about it. About the 2 years you've spent building something meaningful from rubble. About the foundation that's helped hundreds of people. About Nathan, who shows up consistently and loves you steadily. About the life you've created that has nothing to do with Marcus Hayes except in its origin story. I want to acknowledge it, you finally say. I want to tell him I received his apology, that I hope his rehabilitation is genuine, and that I'm moving forward with my life. Then I want to close that door permanently. So you write back. 1 page, carefully worded. Marcus, received your letter. I appreciate the apology and the acknowledgement of harm. I hope your therapy is genuine and that you're doing the difficult work of understanding why you made the choices you made. That I want you to know that I've built a good life in the aftermath of our relationship. The foundation is thriving, helping survivors of romance fraud find community and support. I'm in a healthy relationship with someone who values honesty and consistency. Luna is well. She's currently asleep on my feet as I write this, living her best dog life. That I've learned that closure doesn't require forgiveness. I don't have to forgive you to move forward. I don't have to understand your motivations to heal from your actions. The closure I needed, I gave myself, through therapy, through community, through choosing to help others instead of drowning in bitterness. That I hope prison gives you time to genuinely change. I hope you emerge as someone who can have honest relationships, who values truth over manipulation. But my healing doesn't depend on your rehabilitation. I'm okay regardless of whether you change or not. This will be my only response to your letters. I'm closing this chapter of my life. I wish you well, from a distance, in whatever future you build for yourself. Take care, Sarah. You mail the letter, and it feels like setting down weight you didn't realize you were still carrying. Marcus's apology didn't fix anything, you didn't need it to. But acknowledging it and then choosing to walk away? That feels powerful in a quiet, definitive way. The Foundation's national conference happens in September, 2 years and 2 months after Rebecca first approached you in that coffee shop. Over 300 people attend, survivors, advocates, law enforcement officials, therapists, researchers. The weekend is intense and exhausting and deeply meaningful. You give the opening keynote, telling the story one more time, but with new emphasis on what came after. The building of community. The creation of resources. The transformation of trauma into purpose. Romance fraud thrives on silence and shame, you tell the audience. Victims often don't report because they feel stupid, because they blame themselves, because they think no one will believe them. But when we share our stories, when we create space for survivors to connect and heal, we break that silence. We build something that can't be manipulated or gaslit away, a community of truth tellers. Rebecca speaks on a panel about long-term recovery. Jennifer hosts a workshop for survivors with children, discussing how to protect kids while processing your own trauma. Vanessa presents research on financial aspects of romance fraud. Teresa shares her experience working with law enforcement. Ashley moderates a discussion about moving forward in dating after victimization. The weekend culminates in a candlelight vigil for those who didn't survive their experiences with romance fraud, the people who took their own lives, like Caroline's daughter, like others whose stories you've heard over the past 2 years. It's somber and beautiful and achingly sad, standing in the circle of candlelight, surrounded by hundreds of survivors who've chosen to transform their pain into advocacy. You feel something shift inside you. The last piece of anger, the final thread of bitterness, it loosens and drifts away like smoke. You don't forgive Marcus. You probably never will. But you also don't need to think about him anymore. He's a chapter in your story, not the whole book. He's the catalyst that led you here, but he's not the reason you're staying. Months pass. The foundation grows. Your relationship with Nathan deepens. He proposes on a quiet Saturday morning in your kitchen. No grand gestures or elaborate plans, just a simple, I love who you are and who we are together, and I want to build a life with you, accompanied by a ring he designed himself. No mysterious grandmother, no recycled promises, just honest intention and steady love. You say yes without hesitation, and this time, the yes feels different. It's not giddy infatuation or fairy tale romance. It's something steadier and truer. A choice made with open eyes, grounded in reality rather than fantasy. The ring is beautiful, but what makes you cry is the inscription inside the band, built on truth. Nathan knows your history, knows your fears, and he's chosen to show you through action, not just words. That trust can be rebuilt if you're with the right person. You still run the foundation. You still do the advocacy work. But it's no longer consuming your life. It's part of your life, balanced with work and relationship and friends and the simple pleasure of long walks with Luna. Marcus sends one more letter, months after your response. You don't open it. You mark it, return to sender, and drop it back in the mail. Whatever he has to say, you don't need to hear it. That chapter is closed. It's been 3 years now since Rebecca approached you in that coffee shop. 3 years since your world imploded and then reassembled itself into something stronger and stranger and more meaningful than you could have imagined. That you're sitting on your balcony on a Sunday morning, coffee in hand, Nathan inside making breakfast, Luna sprawled in a patch of sunlight. Your phone buzzes with a message from the Recycled Ring Club group chat. Still active, still going strong, though the conversations now are less about Marcus and more about life. Rebecca's wedding photos. Vanessa's promotion. Jennifer's daughter making honor roll. Ashley's new apartment. Teresa's acceptance into a master's program. The website you built gets 20,000 visitors a month now. The database project Melissa proposed is in beta testing, carefully designed with legal protections and verification systems. Legislation you helped draft has passed in 3 states. You've been invited to speak at conferences, universities, law enforcement trainings, but what matters most isn't the metrics or the impact or the recognition. It's the emails you get, sometimes daily, from people who say, "Your story helped me understand mine. I thought I was alone. I thought I was crazy. Thank you for showing me I'm neither." That's the real victory. Not Marcus in prison. Not his forced apology or his claimed rehabilitation. The victory is every person who finds your website and realizes they're not alone. Every survivor who joins a support group and starts to heal. Every potential victim who recognizes the warning signs and walks away before investing their heart and time in a lie. Marcus Hayes tried to break you. He tried to make you doubt reality, question your worth, close yourself off from trust and connection. He thought manipulating you would be easy, that you'd be just another name on his list of conquests. That he was wrong. You weren't broken by betrayal, you were forged by it. Transformed into someone who understands the darkness of manipulation but chooses to spread light anyway. Someone who knows the pain of being lied to but responds by building communities of truth. Someone who could have let bitterness consume them but instead chose to help others heal. The ring that connected you all, Eleanor Hayes's ring, stolen and recycled and used for cruelty, eventually sold for enough money to fund the Foundation's first year of operations. Something meant to deceive became the seed money for something honest and healing. There's poetry in that, you think. Justice of a quiet, circular kind. You think about Eleanor Hayes sometimes. The real woman, not the fictional versions Marcus created. She was a seamstress in Boston, a woman who saved money and bought herself a ring as a symbol of independence. She probably never imagined her ring would be stolen by her grandson and used to con dozens of women. But she also probably never imagined that same ring would eventually fund an organization helping survivors of fraud. Maybe she'd be okay with that trade. Her ring passed through darkness, ultimately creating light. Nathan calls from inside that breakfast is ready. Luna's ears perk up. She knows the word breakfast, even when it's not directed at her. You stand, stretching, preparing to walk into the rest of your Sunday and the rest of your life. Before you go inside, you look out over Portland, the city where you met Marcus, where you were lied to, where you discovered the truth, where you found your people and built something meaningful. The city that holds your pain and your healing, your past and your future. You think about the woman you were 3 years ago, trying on engagement rings in her imagination, believing in fairy tales. You don't regret being her. She was hopeful and open and brave enough to be vulnerable. Those aren't bad qualities. They just needed to be balanced with wisdom and caution. You think about the woman you are now. Still hopeful, still open, but with eyes wide open and boundaries firmly in place. Engaged again, but this time to someone who earns your trust daily through consistency rather than demanding it through charm. And you think about the women you'll never meet. The ones who'll find your website years from now, who'll read your story and recognize their own, who'll realize they're not alone in their experience of manipulation and betrayal. The ripple effect of choosing to speak truth instead of hiding in shame. That's what Marcus Hayes didn't understand. He thought controlling people made him powerful. But real power, lasting power, comes from helping people free themselves from control. From building communities where truth is valued and vulnerability is protected. From transforming your worst experience into someone else's roadmap to healing. Luna barks impatiently. Nathan calls again. Your coffee is getting cold. You head inside, into the warmth and light, into the life you've built from the ruins of broken promises. Into the future that Marcus tried to steal but you reclaimed, and you think, he lied about the ring. I found out. And then I found out something even more important. I found out who I am when everything I believed turns out to be false. I found out I'm someone who doesn't stay broken. Someone who builds something better from the pieces. That's the real story. Not the betrayal, the recovery. Not the lies, the truth you built in their place. Not the man who tried to destroy you, the woman you became despite him. You set down your coffee cup and smile. Life continues. You continue, and that, in the end, is everything. Healing from betrayal isn't linear. Some days, 3 years later, you still feel the phantom weight of that ring on your finger. You'll see a sapphire in a jewelry store window and feel your chest tighten. You'll hear someone tell a story about how they met their partner, and you'll find yourself listening for inconsistencies, searching for the lie beneath the charm, but those moments are growing further apart. being replaced by newer, truer memories. Nathan's hand in yours at the farmer's market. Rebecca's laugh during your monthly video calls. The emails from strangers turned community members thanking you for creating space where their pain is validated and their recovery is supported. That you've learned that closure isn't something someone gives you, it's something you create for yourself. Marcus's apology was nice, but you were already healing before he wrote it. Jennifer forgave him, but you don't have to. Vanessa still gets angry sometimes, and that's valid too. There's no single right way to survive betrayal. There's only your way, discovered through trial and error and therapy and time. The foundation continues its work, evolving and growing beyond what you imagined that first night when you sat on your bathroom floor with Luna and wondered how you'd survive the pain. You've hired a full-time executive director now, stepping back from daily operations to focus on strategic growth. It's no longer just your story, it's a movement, a resource, a lifeline for people discovering that their perfect partner was fiction. Sometimes people ask if you regret saying yes to Marcus, if you wish you'd never met him. The answer is complicated. You regret the pain, his and yours and everyone else he hurt. You regret the time lost to someone who didn't deserve it. But you don't regret what you built from the ruins. You don't regret the women you met, the community you created, the lives you've touched by refusing to let betrayal silence you. There's a photo on your desk now, not of Marcus, not of the ring, but of the Recycled Ring Club at the Foundation's second annual conference. 6 women standing together, arms around each other, smiling genuine smiles. You're all wearing the same necklace, a small compass pendant that Jennifer designed and had made for everyone. So we always remember, she said when she gave them out, that even when someone tries to make us lose our way, we can find north again. You touch the compass at your throat now, feeling its weight. A reminder that you found your way. That you're still finding it, every day, through choices that honor truth over convenience, healing over bitterness, community over isolation. Until next time, remember, everyone has their story, everyone has their scars. But those scars don't define you. What you do with them does. And if you can take your worst chapter and turn it into someone else's survival guide, that's not just healing. That's transformation. That's taking the power back and using it to light the way for others still lost in the dark. Now, here's a question for you. If you discovered someone you trusted had been lying to you about fundamental aspects of their identity, would you want to know the truth immediately, or would there be comfort in remaining unaware? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective.